and he stopped by SiriusXM NHL Network Radio on Channel 91 to talk with Scott Laughlin about the consistency he showed throughout his career and his decision to end it after 18 seasons.
A little bit of luck. You need to not get twisted up in certain areas and, respond when you do get a little twist or something and play through it. But I think early on in my career, coming up in San Jose with Jumbo and Patty and some of these guys, you saw from an early age that you kind of better play through some injuries and you better kind of take care of yourself and work at your game and work on your body and, train. So seeing those guys do it and seeing them, some of the things that they played through goes a long way as a young kid, and having an understanding of, you're going to be all right. You can play with it. You'll kind of heal as you go. And I credit a lot of it to that, I think. And then I've just, every summer, had a pretty good plan. And then you kind of just work at it and go back to a little bit of luck and playing through a few things. And next thing you know, you're playing a lot of games.
So what are your plans in going forward here? Are you done? Are you sticking to that plan? Would you like to play another season? What's your plan in going forward?
I'm sticking to that plan. There's no plan to play. I didn't want to use the R word, I guess, right away. Just for the fact that there isn't, nothing set in stone, but that is the plan. We're not playing. I wanted just a little bit extra time to think about it. I was pretty comfortable with that plan then, so I didn't want to keep people, hanging and thinking and talking about certain things. But it's a pretty clear outlook. Over the last month, we've given it some more thought, and we'll get something out probably a little bit more official here at some point. But it's just a great time for us right now as a family, as a career. I think I'm ready to step away from the game and, on the playing side of things and go from there.
Yeah, also wishful thinking on my behalf. I said, if I'm Mike Greer, I'm picking the phone up and calling Joe to see if he wants to finish his career with the Sharks and influence the good young kids in the Sharks organization. So if Mike called you, you would still say no.
Yeah, I think that's the plan. I've talked to Mike a little bit. They look like they're turning a corner with some of their draft picks and some of the guys that are coming in, and just 13 great years in San Jose, a special place. It'll always be, where we got to start. There'll always be a part of me there. And then going to Dallas, they've been just tremendous as well. And I had everything in Dallas, as far as the team goes, the coaching goes, the location of it all. And we were winning games. It just, at the end of the day, it feels like the right time. And I couldn't ask for more, really. And the situation I was in, and to kind of, that's kind of when I had a good idea. It was, it'd be all right stepping away.
SiriusXM Fantasy Sports Radio is the place for expert advice, strategy, and information from the best fantasy sports analysis to win your league. Plus, hear pick-by-pick coverage of live drafts and interviews with top players, coaches, and team executives on SiriusXM 87.
I'm Frank Trachtenberg with your SiriusXM NHL schedule. The Florida Panthers are your 2024 Stanley Cup champions, and that means the NHL offseason is officially underway. The Panthers stymied a monumental comeback from the Edmonton Oilers, who got all the way to Game 7 after falling behind in the series 3-0. Florida held on in the deciding game, beating Edmonton 2-1 and winning their first and only championship in the organization's 30-year history. If they had pulled it off, the Oilers would have joined the 1942 Toronto Maple Leafs as the only team to erase a 3-0 deficit in the final round of the playoffs and hoist the Stanley Cup. Florida's Alexander Barkov becomes the first Finnish captain to win the Stanley Cup. The Selke Award winner for top defensive forward blanketed McDavid in the finals and recorded 22 points in 24 postseason games. In his second season with Florida, head coach Paul Maurice won the Cup for the first time in his career, which began in 1995. Panthers netminder Sergei Bobrovsky recorded all 16 postseason victories for Florida, sporting a .232 goals against average and a .906 save percentage, along with 2 shutouts. Despite not registering a point in the last 2 games of the final, Connor McDavid was awarded the Conn Smythe Trophy. He received 16 of 17 first-place votes to become the 6th player on a losing team to win it, and the first skater to do so since Reggie Leach with the Philadelphia Flyers in 1976. McDavid finished the playoffs with 8 goals, 34 assists for 42 points in 25 games. Only Wayne Gretzky and Mario Lemieux had more than one postseason. The Oilers last made the final in 2006, where they lost to the Carolina Hurricanes, and their most recent championship was in 1990. They fell short in their quest this time for the franchise's 6th Stanley Cup. The postseason may be in the rearview mirror, but there's lots of important NHL dates on the horizon. For 24/7 coverage of the NHL offseason and hockey across the world, keep it locked on SiriusXM NHL Network Radio, Channel 91.
Get the latest news, opinion, and analysis from MMA to boxing and the professional wrestling world 24/7. SiriusXM Fight Nation, SiriusXM 156, and the SXM app.
Tampa Bay Lightning head coach John Cooper stopped by for a morning skate with Gord Stellick and Scott Laughlin on SiriusXM NHL Network Radio on SiriusXM Channel 91 to talk the keys to his success over the years and the challenge of getting to the Stanley Cup final 3 years in a row.
John, I'm going to ask you to be a little bit self-analytical and, being in the business that you're in and knowing how successful you've been and what drives you and motivates you. What do you think has been the key to your success over the years? I mean, every league you've been in, you've won, you've had the staying power, and you've had all kinds of championship pedigree. If you say, hey, look, I'm still going strong, I'm still chasing another ring, what is it that keeps you going, and what is it in particular that you feel has made you as successful as you've been?
I would say there's a couple things. Internally, it's the fire is still burning. As I think that, first and foremost, is the biggest thing. Because when you lose your passion for it, and I've watched it happen to people, then you might as well you should get yourself out because you're just doing yourself and your team a disservice. So that passion is, first and foremost, the big thing. I would sit here say on the other side of things, like Jeff Vinnick as an owner, and it kind of goes back to the previous question about stability. And that's one of the things we've had. And so Julian Breezeball was my general manager in the minors and now the NHL. So we've been together for how many years? We had Steve Yzerman in the early part of that, and he kind of was like the mentor. He was the actual one that brought me in, but we've had that stability. Only 2 GMs, but both of them work together. We've had one owner, one coach, basically, since I've been there, one captain, and it's this core group of guys that have all stuck together. And I think we've kind of, I don't know how to explain it, you've kind of passed the coach-player relationship because we've been there so long, and we all just have this common goal of what we need to do. And there's a lot of pride, a lot of passion with the group of guys we have, and then Julian's done a great job of kind of filling in. And when I say fill in, it's like getting the Nick Pauls, getting the Brandon Hagels, guys that are still long-term guys but that weren't, pseudo-drafted into our system. And it's, we've been really fortunate that it's worked out the way it has. But I truly believe the stability, the belief, and the passion of the same group of people that have been together, and that's what's really helped us. It takes its toll, both physically and mentally. And I give our players credit, to come back and make the playoffs the next year. But, now we've been one and done for 2 years. We've had some breaks. We've had a little bit of turnover, and we need to get back. We need to get back to those, making some runs in the playoffs. And but I will sit here and say, I'd be remiss to say, those years, they do take a toll, and maybe it has taken a toll in the last, couple of years on us. And but I can tell now that, a couple of years of being bounced in the first round, it's just a different vibe coming in, especially this year of seeing all the players. And there's an energy I haven't felt in a while. And I think part of that is because we have been bounced, in the last 2 years.
John Cooper joining us for further.
Mad Dog Sports Radio has the best sports talk in the business, covering sports with a passion and knowledge you need. Mad Dog Sports Radio, SiriusXM 86, and the SXM app.
I'm Frank Trachtenberg with your SiriusXM NHL schedule. The Florida Panthers are your 2024 Stanley Cup champions, and that means the NHL offseason is officially underway. The Panthers stymied a monumental comeback from the Edmonton Oilers, who got all the way to Game 7 after falling behind in the series 3-0. Florida held on in the deciding game, beating Edmonton 2-1 and winning their first and only championship in the organization's 30-year history. If they had pulled it off, the Oilers would have joined the 1942 Toronto Maple Leafs as the only team to erase a 3-0 deficit in the final round of the playoffs and hoist the Stanley Cup. Florida's Alexander Barkov becomes the first Finnish captain to win the Stanley Cup. The Selke Award winner for top defensive forward blanketed McDavid in the finals and recorded 22 points in 24 postseason games. In his second season with Florida, head coach Paul Maurice won the Cup for the first time in his career, which began in 1995. Panthers netminder Sergei Bobrovsky recorded all 16 postseason victories for Florida, sporting a .232 goals against average and a .906 save percentage, along with 2 shutouts. Despite not registering a point in the last 2 games of the final, Connor McDavid was awarded the Conn Smythe Trophy. He received 16 of 17 first-place votes to become the 6th player on a losing team to win it, and the first skater to do so since Reggie Leach with the Philadelphia Flyers in 1976. McDavid finished the playoffs with 8 goals, 34 assists for 42 points in 25 games. Only Wayne Gretzky and Mario Lemieux had more in one postseason. The Oilers last made the final in 2006, where they lost to the Carolina Hurricanes, and their most recent championship was in 1990. They fell short in their quest this time for the franchise's 6th Stanley Cup. The postseason may be in the rearview mirror, but there's lots of important NHL dates on the horizon. For 24/7 coverage of the NHL offseason and hockey across the world, keep it locked on SiriusXM NHL Network Radio, Channel 91.
MLB Network Radio is your home for 24/7 baseball talk, featuring on-site coverage of every major event from spring training through the World Series and expert analysis from former general managers and players. SiriusXM, Channel 89.
Head coach of the Tampa Bay Lightning, John Cooper, was with Gord Stellick and Scott Laughlin for the morning skate on SiriusXM NHL Network Radio to share his thoughts on Steven Stamkos leaving the Lightning this past offseason.
Yeah, that was a tough one. There's no question. A lot easier, I guess, to talk about it now than it was, July 1st, 2nd, 3rd. I had a special relationship with Steven when he, we first came in. He was a young kid, sniper, scorer, just played free on the ice. But, he wasn't thinking on that leadership side when he was young. We make him captain. I watch him, kind of grow into the role. Then I, get married, have kids, father, and then just became this fantastic leader for us in the end. It was, it's going to be tough. And we're in the entertainment business, and we do a lot of entertaining. Unfortunately, there's a word called business, and I think, God, we were competing for a Stanley Cup 2.5 years ago, and I bet you we have more coaches left than we do players that were in that final. And so it's just the nature of the business that you try and keep everybody, and for whatever reason, whether it's the player side or management side, that it doesn't work out, but we have to move on. And I think of Stammer's gone, and Alex Killorn went the year before, and you just go down the list: McDonough, Platt, Gaudreau, Gord, Coleman, and it's just different, and it's hard because you want to be able to keep all your boys, especially the guys you've won with. But in the end, your job is to move on and take what you have moving forward and try and win. So the one thing that we've had some success with is, like you said, you get that core and you can fill in guys that fit your identity. I think we've done that. I'm really, everybody says they're really excited about, the upcoming year, but I like a lot of the gamemanship we brought in. We're not going to ever replace what we lost, especially in Steven Stamkos, but we can maybe replace it in different ways. And, our job is, we have to move forward. And like I said, I like what we've done with our team outside of what we lost, and it should be exciting for us.
John, would you be in the market to name a new captain, do you think, before the season starts? Because there's a few players on your team that could wear the C, no doubt. One in particular I think most people would think about on the back end. Would you go down that route, or would you just maybe leave it vacant for the time being?
I think so. That's been something we've talked about, and it's this is a massive decision. I'm not a big believer in just walking and saying, "Well, this is the guy," because it looks like he should be guy. And you're right. It's hockey's a unique sport. The C's worn on the jersey. Other sports kind of try and replicate it at a time, but I just don't think it has the same meaning or how the captain works in hockey and how that player, just he kind of can shape a franchise, whether it's on or off the ice. And like you said, we've got some high-end leaders here on our team, and but I suspect something will happen very soon in that regard.
On the court and off, your home for the NBA is SiriusXM. Follow all the drama as your favorite team vies for it all. SiriusXM NBA Radio. SiriusXM 86.
I'm Frank Trachtenberg with your SiriusXM NHL schedule. The Florida Panthers are your 2024 Stanley Cup champions, and that means the NHL offseason is officially underway. The Panthers stymied a monumental comeback from the Edmonton Oilers, who got all the way to Game 7 after falling behind in the series 3-0. Florida held on in the deciding game, beating Edmonton 2-1 and winning their first and only championship in the organization's 30-year history. If they had pulled it off, the Oilers would have joined the 1942 Toronto Maple Leafs as the only team to erase a 3-0 deficit in the final round of the playoffs and hoist the Stanley Cup. Florida's Alexander Barkov becomes the first Finnish captain to win the Stanley Cup. The Selke Award winner for top defensive forward blanketed McDavid in the finals and recorded 22 points in 24 postseason games. In his second season with Florida, head coach Paul Maurice won the Cup for the first time in his career, which began in 1995. Panthers netminder Sergei Bobrovsky recorded all 16 postseason victories for Florida, sporting a .232 goals against average and a .906 save percentage, along with 2 shutouts. Despite not registering a point in the last 2 games of the final, Connor McDavid was awarded the Conn Smythe Trophy. He received 16 of 17th first-place votes to become the 6th player on a losing team to win it, and the first skater to do so since Reggie Leach with the Philadelphia Flyers in 1976. McDavid finished the playoffs with 8 goals, 34 assists for 42 points in 25 games. Only Wayne Gretzky and Mario Lemieux had more than one postseason. The Oilers last made the final in 2006, where they lost to the Carolina Hurricanes, and their most recent championship was in 1990. They fell short in their quest this time for the franchise's 6th Stanley Cup. The postseason may be in the rearview mirror, but there's lots of important NHL dates on the horizon. For 24/7 coverage of the NHL offseason and hockey across the world, keep it locked on SiriusXM NHL Network Radio, Channel 91.
SiriusXM NFL Radio Channel 88 brings you expert analysis from former players, coaches, and executives, plus reaction to all the latest news on the only 24/7 station dedicated to the National Football League.
After 1,332 games in the NHL, former San Jose Shark and Dallas Star Joe Pavelski has announced his retirement, and he stopped by SiriusXM NHL Network Radio on Channel 91 to talk with Scott Laughlin about the consistency he showed throughout his career and his decision to end it after 18 seasons.
A little bit of luck. You need to not get twisted up in certain areas and, respond when you do get a little twist or something and play through it. But I think early on in my career, coming up in San Jose with Jumbo and Patty and some of these guys, you saw from an early age that you kind of better play through some injuries and you better kind of take care of yourself and work at your game and work on your body and, train. So seeing those guys do it and seeing them, some of the things that they played through goes a long way as a young kid, and having an understanding of, you're going to be all right. You can play with it. You'll kind of heal as you go. And I credit a lot of it to that, I think. And then I've just, every summer, had a pretty good plan. And then you kind of just work at it and go back to a little bit of luck and playing through a few things. And next thing you know, you're playing a lot of games.
So, what are your plans in going forward here? Are you done? Are you sticking to that plan? Would you like to play another season? What's your plan in going forward?
I'm sticking to that plan. There's no plan to play. I didn't want to use the R word, I guess, right away. Just for the fact that there isn't, nothing set in stone, but that is the plan. We're not playing. I wanted just a little bit extra time to think about it. I was pretty comfortable with that plan then, so I didn't want to keep people, hanging and thinking and talking about certain things. But it's a pretty clear outlook. Over the last month, we've given it some more thought, and we'll get something out probably a little bit more official here at some point. But it's just a great time for us right now as a family, as a career. I think I'm ready to step away from the game and, on the playing side of things and go from there.
Yeah, also wishful thinking on my behalf. I said, if I'm Mike Grier, I'm picking the phone up and calling Joe to see if he wants to finish his career with the Sharks and influence the good young kids in the Sharks organization. So if Mike called you, you would still say no.
Yeah, I think that's the plan. I've talked to Mike a little bit. They look like they're turning a corner with some of their draft picks and some of the guys that are coming in. And just 13 great years in San Jose, a special place. It'll always be, where we got to start. They'll always be a part of me there. And then going to Dallas, they've been just tremendous as well. And I had everything in Dallas, as far as the team goes, the coaching goes, the location of it all, and we were winning games. It just, at the end of the day, it feels like the right time, and I couldn't ask for more, really, and the situation I was in, and to kind of, that's kind of when I had a good idea. It was, it'd be all right stepping away.
Follow every second of the action on NHL Network Radio. From behind the bench to every play on the ice. If it's hockey, it's on SiriusXM NHL Network Radio. SiriusXM 91.
I'm Frank Trachtenberg with your SiriusXM NHL schedule. The Florida Panthers are your 2024 Stanley Cup champions, and that means the NHL offseason is officially underway. The Panthers stymied a monumental comeback from the Edmonton Oilers, who got all the way to Game 7 after falling behind in the series 3-0. Florida held on in the deciding game, beating Edmonton 2-1 and winning their first and only championship in the organization's 30-year history. If they had pulled it off, the Oilers would have joined the 1942 Toronto Maple Leafs as the only team to erase a 3-0 deficit in the final round of the playoffs and hoist the Stanley Cup. Florida's Alexander Barkov becomes the first Finnish captain to win the Stanley Cup. The Selke Award winner for top defensive forward blanketed McDavid in the finals and recorded 22 points in 24 postseason games. In his second season with Florida, head coach Paul Maurice won the Cup for the first time in his career, which began in 1995. Panthers netminder Sergei Bobrovsky recorded all 16 postseason victories for Florida, sporting a .232 goals against average and a .906 save percentage, along with 2 shutouts. Despite not registering a point in the last 2 games of the final, Connor McDavid was awarded the Conn Smythe Trophy. He received 16 of 17th first-place votes to become the 6th player on a losing team to win it, and the first skater to do so since Reggie Leach with the Philadelphia Flyers in 1976. McDavid finished the playoffs with 8 goals, 34 assists for 42 points in 25 games. Only Wayne Gretzky and Mario Lemieux had more than one postseason. The Oilers last made the final in 2006, where they lost to the Carolina Hurricanes, and their most recent championship was in 1990. They fell short in their quest this time for the franchise's 6th Stanley Cup. The postseason may be in the rearview mirror, but there's lots of important NHL dates on the horizon. For 24/7 coverage of the NHL offseason and hockey across the world, keep it locked on SiriusXM NHL Network Radio, Channel 91.
Hear it all on demand. Your favorite shows, your favorite games. Don't miss a second of your favorite Sirius.
2024/25 hockey season gets underway with the first exhibition game. The first of 6 for the Toronto Maple Leafs, who will host the Ottawa Senators here tonight. Joe Bowen along with Jim Ralph. That sounds good. I like that.
No, I'm not being smart and asking this.
Yes, you are.
No, you're. I'm sure you remember your first NHL game, which I know was in Chicago.
Yep, and you were there.
Yeah, and then we left around the same time.
Yes, we did.
But you remember your first preseason game? Or did you do preseason back then?
No, I didn't do any preseason that year. I was hired, and the very first game was the very first regular season game. And we're underway. The Leafs down to our right and the Senators to the left as the puck comes out at center ice, and Matthew Nyes skates it in on the right wing. Tries to barge into the corner, comes away with the loose puck. Couldn't quite get it back to the blue line. And then we have a whistle. Chris Lee, Mitch Dunning, the referees, Brad Kovacic, Ryan Johnson, the linesman. No, I was hired just as preseason started. In fact, I was asked to come down and do a preseason game with the Edmonton Oilers as an audition. But then they said, you know what, never mind the audition, here's the job. Because I know I had screwed up the audition terribly. And despite that, they gave me the job, and my first kick at the can was in the Chicago Stadium. We've got a penalty here to the Maple Leafs.
Matthew Nyes, I believe, high sticking the call.
And so the Leafs are a man short as it comes back to the point. Yakimchuk trying to get it into the corner, drops it back to Amadio. He works down low into the corner, comes back to the blue line, but it's going to squeak out at center ice and slide all the way back into the Ottawa zone. Senators did not make the playoffs. There's a lot of optimism, especially with the addition of a pretty darn good goaltender from Boston who is not playing here tonight as it comes to the point. Yakimchuk a shot, and Joseph Wall will make his first save of the preseason as he gets the start and goal for Toronto.
I was reading, I believe it was Daily Faceoff came up with the players to watch for breakout seasons this year, and they had Joseph Wall from the Toronto Maple Leafs. I think it's Matthew Nyes. You know, I think not taking any away from the importance of Joseph Wall, hopefully staying healthy and establishing himself as a number one maybe in the National Hockey League, but I still think Matthew Nyes is the guy that can take a next step.
Shabbat to Batherson, a shot. There's a save by Wall with the blockers. It comes back to the blue line. Shabbat over for Batherson. Again, a pass in front of the net was missed there on the redeflection or the redirection by Cruikshank. And the Sens will get it back to the blue line, and Shabbat walks the line. Near side, Batherson into the slot, a shot, and that was just off the mark. It'll carry him around the wall and will slide out into the center ice area. Played back into the Ottawa zone. And Shabbat is back there. The Leafs have dressed a lineup that is, what normally happens in preseason. When you play at home and the paying customers are in the joint, let's dress a lineup that looks a little more like an NHL lineup. The Ottawa Senators, conversely, have got a lot of youngsters and just enough veterans to make it possible. Here's Shabbat back to the point. 24 seconds left in the power play. Batherson shot is deflecting, and it goes up into the screen and out of play. You know what? First exhibition game, first period. Always feel it's like riding a bike the very first time, maybe in the summer. I'm not really sure I can get to the corner. But then you get on, and you pedal, and your balance is there. And then you find, okay, I figured out I can do this again.
We couldn't afford bikes.
So what, you stole one?
Yeah, thank God the neighbors could.
Here's Marner getting it in over the line, tried to make a pass onto the wing that was intercepted, and it's brought back the other way by Michael Amadio. He'll work down into the corner. Liljegren takes him out of the play. Puck back of the net. Gobbled up there by Halliday. A shot just wide of the net on the rebound. Cleared in front of the net and knocked away nicely there by Ekman Larsson. Then a long shot went wide of the Leaf goal. Kept alive by Amadio on the right wing boards. Penalty is expired. Marner trying to get it out over the line, and he has. And Nyes breaking with Tavares. Nyes for Tavares into the slot area. Backhand pass, and it slid right through the blue paint and went wide of the Ottawa goal. Mads Søgaard gets the start in goal for the Ottawa Senators, but the big news, of course, is Linus Ullmark, as a shot there is kicked away by Sogard. And a lot is expected of the former Boston goalkeeper, although he's going to find maybe that the defensive strategy of the Ottawa Senators is a tad bit different than that in Boston. Brought back in over the line by Nylander. A drop pass for Riley into the slot area. Domi couldn't get it around the goaltender, and it just went wide of the net. Lots to talk about. Once again, as was the case last year, the experimentation of Willie Nylander as a center iceman.
And a lot of talk as well that it was only 2 preseason games last year, and the experiment was over, and it might be given a little more rope this time.
Well, one of the things that we're going to have to watch, because Max Domi is playing on that line as a long pass goes high and wide of the Leaf goal down into the corner, comes out in front of the net, knocked away, and now smothered by goaltender Joseph Woll. One of the great attributes that Nylander has is his ability to anticipate when the turnover in the defensive zone is happening and the burst for a breakaway. Playing center, you don't get to do that as often because you're down low. You're doing some of the spade work. So it'll be interesting to see if on that line, when the puck was in the defensive zone, does Max Domi slide in to do that kind of job, and does Willie stay on the wing?
And that has been talked about between Craig Berube and Nylander himself about the defensive play is going to be the important thing.
Pass in for Reeves, didn't connect. It goes around back of the net. This line has Quillen along with Easton Cowan as Reeves tries to poke the puck into the corner. Cowan goes after it along the boards. Reeves trying to dig it free. Cowan got it in front of the net. Quillen couldn't get a shot, and it'll be brought out. And Easton Cowan has done just about everything you possibly could do with a junior career with the London Knights. He has won just about every award that there is, and yet there's no guarantees that he's going to be a part of the starting lineup here. Along the boards in the Toronto zone, Matthews wearing the captain's C for the first time as the pass comes to center, and Marner will deflect it down into the offensive zone. Marner chases in after the puck, trying to get it away there from Tyler Clevin. Into the near corner for Matthews, back of the net for Nyes. Nyes fakes a drop pass, carries along, centers in front of the net. That almost went off the nose of Marner and ended up going up into the stands.
Well, and maybe the best comparison, recent comparison, would be Mitch Marner to Easton Cowan as somebody that dominated at the junior level. But you remember when Marner did get his opportunity, he was a top 6 forward, playing with Van Riemsdyk and Tyler Bozak. So I think what sort of hurts Cowan is the number of elite players in the top 6 already, where it's not quite the team that's looking to turn it around, but get better. Brett Treliving had a great quote where he said, this isn't about somebody finding the road to the NHL. It's just play well to make the team.
Here's Nylander sifting into the corner, plays it around to Domi in the right wing side. Centering effort hit a skate. Domi in against the boards. Max trying to chip it free for Yarncrook. Yarncrook will play it back to Domi in the corner. That bounced away from him. And now here are the Senators getting it up on the left wing and breaking it out at center ice. Zach McEwen playing it down into the Toronto zone. McEwen tied up along the boards there by Riley. A centering pass in front. They score! Jan Jenik sifted into the slot, and the puck found him, and he opens the scoring here in the preseason.
And Jenik coming over from Arizona, where he spent parts of 4 seasons. And it was the Senators win the battle. In the corner to the left of Joseph Woll, the puck's funneled out to the top of the slot, and Jenik steps into it, snaps it far side blocker side on Joseph Woll to open the scoring in this game. And that's where Nylander was down low, so we're talking about the defensive responsibilities, moving Nylander to the middle. But then everyone else seemed to be a little late to the party, trying to jump in out of coverage.
Yeah, Nikita Grebenkin is the winger on that side, and he was a little late getting into the slot.
He's really been the big story for the Leafs, hasn't he, here in the training camp, or the surprise of training camp.
Puck in along the boards. Back to the point it comes. Ekman-Larsson's shot didn't make it through. Leafs are able to keep it in as McCabe sends it down into the corner. And now the Sens will slide it out and down the ice, and this is going to manage to just get to the line. And an icing call will come here against Ottawa. Yeah, training camp is such a long and arduous...
Boy,
3 days!
We have talked to, you talk to former players about it, even when we were talking to Rob DeMaio and Steve Staios of the Ottawa Senators before the game, talking about how different training camps are, where it used to be NHL players came to camp to get into shape.
Yes. The famous Punch Imlach letter of introduction to show up in Peterborough. You were going to be required to do 20 sit-ups. And as John Panette used to say, I don't do ups, I do downs. Sit down, double down, wolf down. Centering pass comes back to the blue line. Leafs keeping it into the offensive zone. Reeves back of the goal, shielding the puck nicely. Banks it back to the point. Sent over on the far side. Long shot by Lilligren went wide of the net. And now the Senators get it up on the boards, but not out. Good play made there by Easton Cowan to keep it in. Cowan after it as it comes back to the point. And a shot that whistles off the stick of Cade Weber is going to deflect up into the screen and out of play with 12:29 left to play in the first period. The Ottawa Senators have a 1-0 lead. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on Sportsnet 590, The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Shohei Ohtani.
There it is! The first player in Major League Baseball to have a 50-50 season.
When the sports world is talking, nobody gives you more perspectives than the experts of SiriusXM.
This is a remarkable freaking accomplishment.
Hear instant reaction on Mad Dog Sports Radio.
It's incredible. Guy's unreal.
And expert analysis on MLB Network Radio.
He is the type of player that can evolve into anything he wants to be.
Live sports talk when you need it is on SiriusXM and the all-new SiriusXM app.
The UEFA Champions League is back on SiriusXM FC, and this year it's bigger than ever.
Absolutely ridiculous from Real Madrid. Merseyside magic from Mo Salah.
Now with more matches featuring soccer's most iconic clubs as they battle it out for European supremacy.
What a start for Inter! Haaland scores the hat-trick!
From the league phase to the final, the Champions League is on SiriusXM FC 157 and the all-new SiriusXM app.
And then
Here's a chance. Oh, what a start!
there were 8.
Went the line, long drive, rebound, they scored! Zadorov behind the net for Garland in front. Lindholm scores! As Martin backs it in, he scores!
With the first
What's up, hockey fans? Thank you for hanging out with us tonight for the Leafs' first preseason matchup of the season. It is so good to be back. Great to see you all here in the chat. Please hit that like button down below so we can bring more Leafs fans into the chat so we can hang out together and have a great time on this wonderful Sunday evening because hockey is back, baby. Let's go. Go Leafs, go. We'll see you guys back in the chat. Cheers, everybody.
Zone, 1-0 Senators here in the first period, 12:29 to go.
Now, one of the things, too, we talk about the differences in training camps over the years. There used to be a lot more fisticuffs, wasn't it? I mean, there were some games that would last forever. And I mean, we're talking about preseason games, but that was also training camp itself.
Well, that was interesting when Simon Benoit, congratulations to he and his girlfriend on the birth of their first child just a couple of days ago, but he and Max Domi got in a bit of a battle in the corner and then kind of got into a little pushing and shoving, and it became a major concern at training camp. And I said, well, Wendell Clark had fought Bob McGill 4 times by that time. And all of a sudden you got this. Here's a deflected shot that's gone around back of the Ottawa goal. Yeah, things were different. No kidding. Wendell showed up and said, who's the toughest guy on this team? Bob McGill. Okay, here's how I'm going to make it. You're the first pick overall. And you're banging heads as the Senators come in, and a wrist shot whistled by Yakmanchuk went over top of the net. Yeah, times have changed. Riley back in his own zone. Ekman-Larsson has a pass deflect off his stick. Brought back in over the line. Drop pass and good deflection or defensive play made there by Domi to break it up. Nylander goes rink wide, and it's going to be offside on the pass coming in for Oliver Ekman-Larsson.
It'll be interesting to see how Ekman-Larsson fits in with this group. Longtime Arizona Coyote, Vancouver, then of course winning in one season with the Florida Panthers, winning the Cup last year. Him, Chris Tanev, I think, is a guy that has the ability to be a crowd favorite. Where this, remember when Jake Muzzin first came in, he had a big hit in his first game and scored a goal the second period. And fans fell in love with him. Dion Phaneuf early on when he was a member of the Leafs playing the same way.
Well, Brad Treliving is attempting to make this team more aggressive, and by doing so, he's trying to make it bigger. And certainly Chris Tanev is going to cover a lot of those points.
Well, got a lot more aggressive and meaner behind the bench. Well, that for sure. Well, and one thing that I found was interesting, that almost every player to a T in the interviews after your workouts during training camp said the same thing. These days have been hard, where it's maybe a little different than it was in the past, where always, new players have to sort of make their mark and try to fit in, but that goes with the coaching staff as well.
Blaine Lambert, along with Mark Savard, Mike Van Ryn are back, or Mike is back, but Lane Lambert and Mark Savard added to Craig Berube's staff as a rolling puck comes out into the center ice area, forcing Cade Weber back into the Leaf zone. A native of Meadville, Pennsylvania, which is right between Erie and Pittsburgh, if you've traveled that route.
You've got some roots there, don't you?
I do. Yep. Knox, Pennsylvania. My mom is from. Senators in their own zone. Lead pass deflects down on Wall. He's going to push it into the corner. And Tanev gets it out at center ice for Matthews, ahead for Nyes. Nyes in over the line, drops for Marner. Marner tried to send it in, but it was blocked, and he's got to get on his horse to recover it in the neutral zone, and finds Tanev available on the right wing. Wearing sweater number 8 is Christopher Tanev, a Toronto boy who found out that traffic is just as bad here as in Dallas, I guess. At the blue line, Riley over on the right wing side. Tanev returns the favor. Riley with a wrist shot, looking for a deflection from Nyes, but it went wide of the goal. Tanev's centering effort was blocked. Played along the boards back of the net. Centering pass there by Marner was gobbled up. And the Sens are going to launch it high and off a glove into the Toronto zone. Morgan Riley goes back as the Leafs are changing up front. 9:10 to go in the first period. And a 1-0 Ottawa lead. Nylander in for Domi. Domi with a shot that doesn't make it past the defense. Cleared around the boards. Pushed out at center ice there by Halliday. Leafs clear it right back in. Domi centers in front of the net. Oh, and a great setup there for Yarncrook. But his shot went off a shin pad. Senators back into the Toronto end. Puck around back of the net. Scrum continues as McCabe dug it free. Chopped by Yarncrook, and it'll come out into the center ice area. Noah Gregor, former Leaf, getting it back into his own zone. Played by Zub out at center and down into the Toronto end. Liljegren tied up on the boards. Max Pacioretty, another interesting story for training camp and exhibition play. Former captain of the Montreal Canadiens and a bona fide high-scoring winger that has fallen on injury problems, mainly Achilles heel injuries that have been his major issue with two different teams in the last couple of years. as it's played out at center ice again for the Senators and Riley. And Tanev exchanged the disc, and it's played to the line and in. Morgan Riley had his pocket picked from behind as it comes free, and it's back out into the center ice area and down to the lead blue line. Tanev knocking it back into neutral ice. Brought in now by Yakmanchuk in with a pass, a drop pass. Goes back to Yakmanchuk. His shot in traffic. Cleared away nicely by Wall. Shabbat works back into the slot. Got a shot away that was blocked in front of the net. Lots of traffic in there. And the Leafs, and a hit from behind there. And no call. Wow. And now Reeves has decided to take it upon himself to have a word with Jan Jenik, who was the goal scorer, who did the hit from behind. Is that not a penalty? Now we're going to have something develop in front of the Leaf goal, but it's not Reeves.
Is that Morgan Riley?
It is, along with Cole Reinhardt. But nothing more develops of that.
Yeah, it was definitely a borderline hit on the boards just below us inside the Leaf blue line. There's no call on it, but that caught the attention first of Ryan Reeves and then eventually Morgan Riley. The Leafs have been better since the start. It seemed the nice penalty really had them starting back on their heels. They killed the penalty off, but haven't really been able to muster much offensively. Just one shot on goal in the first 13 minutes and 5 seconds.
It is a 1-0 Ottawa lead. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on Sportsnet 590, The Fan, and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Fall for Subaru by enjoying fall to the fullest. Think scarlet, burgundy, amber, crimson and copper, but never, never blue. Because with Subaru's symmetrical full-time all-wheel drive, fall is for thick, dark mud splats, terracotta mountain roads, radiant sunsets, kaleidoscopic leaf carpets, and the boldest of adventures. Avoid autumn blues and visit your local Subaru dealership to book a test drive today.
From the biggest stadiums to the coziest hole.
What's up, insiders? Thanks for hanging out with us all season long. Blue Jays fans, baseball fans, sports fans alike, thank you for being a part of this amazing community. When I started this up last October, when we were heading into hockey season with 3,000 subscribers, I would have never imagined that we would have a community of 40,000 plus by the time we get to hockey season. We're almost there. We're going to get there with your help, but I just wanted to say thank you all so much for helping me create this amazing Toronto sports community. I couldn't have done it without you. Now, let's get back to the baseball. We've only got a few games left. Then it's the football and hockey season with basketball shortly thereafter. Go Jays, go. Thank you for a great season. Cheers, insiders. Let's get back to the chat. We'll see you in there. Thank you.
CarPlay and Android Auto. Download the official NHL app now.
You're listening to Toronto Maple Leafs playoff hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Leafs Radio Network.
Not exactly playoff hockey, but preseason hockey anyway. You know, preseason, you got to get a lot of the bugs out of it.
I know.
You can fix things.
I used to play in these games.
Yes,
no,
you did. There is no one in this industry that has had more experience than you at this time of year.
Yeah. There's probably a lot more with better experiences.
Here's Marner in with a shot. It's going to deflect and go up. And I tease you about this because you make fun of yourself with all of this stuff. But, I mean, getting that far is for some people, you know, I mean, I would dream about having something like that.
I will say,
career, obviously, from injuries.
Kind of the neatest thing for me, I remember the neatest moment was, you know, playing junior hockey in Ottawa. You got the Montreal Canadiens every Saturday night that you watched. To play a preseason game against them, you felt like you were part of your favorite TV show. That you're walking, you're on the ice with Guy Lafleur and Steve Shutt and Larry Robinson, and there's a disbelief to it. And listen, we got another penalty coming up here, but even first training camp being with Tony Esposito. I mean, you watched him when I was 10 years old during the 72 Canada Russia series. I watched him in the Stanley Cup Finals, and you're saying, I don't think, and not just trying to be modest, but you're saying, how did I get here?
Yep.
You know,
oh, absolutely.
Looks
Now,
like we got another.
You've spoken with those guys at various events subsequently.
Over the years,
Were they as impressed about being on the ice?
Well, they
with
don't
you at
remember.
the
They
same
have no remember. Lanny McDonald scored twice on me in Calgary. No recollection. No.
Did you at least paint the picture for Lanny so he understood? Or?
Oh, no, I took it as a sign to just shut up. The Leafs, by the way, short-handed again as Morgan Riley is joined in the penalty box by Timothy Liljegren for a high sticking call.
Second power play for Ottawa as it goes over to Shabbat on the right wing side into the corner. Centering pass. Oh, and a big save made by Wall. And it is shot out and down the ice by McCabe.
And it's a 4-on-3 because of the coincidental penalties before this. So a lot of open ice for the Ottawa Senators.
Senators bring it in over the line. Batherson into the far half boards. Back to Shabbat. Return to Batherson. Works in. Fakes the shot. Then let it go. And it's swallowed up by Joseph Wall. And we have sung his praises.
Yes.
Not ad nauseum, but just, I mean, you just know if the kid can just stay healthy. And unfortunately, it's not a nagging injury that keeps recurring. It's been something different all the time.
And always on harmless looking plays.
Yes.
And I think that's what scares you and why Anthony Stolarz might play a bigger part in this season than you might have had him penciled in for.
Back to the point. Zub on the near side gets it back to the blue line. Here the Sens holding it off on the right wing side. Trying to get a shot away here is Halliday. Back to Halliday once more. Wrist shot coming. Big save. Big rebound. Owen Wall came across again and took it away from Michael Amadio.
Well, for Joseph Wall, if this was one of those get your feet wet, get the legs going. Ottawa Senators have tested him 10-1 the shots favoring Ottawa. 2 power plays to none so far for the Sens. But Joseph Wall has moved well.
Sends with it again into the slot area. Back it goes to Addison. Shot in front. Another save made by Wall. And he dives to knock the puck with his catching glove into the corner. Addison again at the blue line. Working the power play to the near side. Halliday works it back. The first penalties are over. Riley back on along with Reinhart. The puck back on the boards to the blue line. Chopped out at center ice then by the Leafs, who will get a much-needed change going. Karam's down into the Leaf end, and they're going to call this icing against Ottawa with 17 seconds left to go in the power play for Ottawa. And, well, it has been Wall who's been getting most of the preseason work in at this point.
Boy, made a great save off Gaudette. Little cross-crease pass. Wall had to move quickly to his right and somehow actually never got to the net. Watching the replay, went right off the skate of Gaudette, and then Wall came over and swept it away.
Draw one by Toronto. They'll bring it back into neutral ice. Regroup the puck a couple of times here. McCabe over for Tanev, and Christopher Tanev sends it down the ice as the door opens to allow Liljegren back onto the ice. 4:17 to play in the first period. Ottawa with a 1-0 lead. And now Domi gets it up on the right wing side, and now played by McCabe down into the Ottawa zone. Around on the boards to the right wing side, launched high in the air. A race for the puck that Domi will control and makes a nifty little play to get it freed up. Domi with Nylander. Plays it high on a bounce in on goal. It's going to be caught. And Mads Sogard, who hasn't had an awful lot to do in this period, gloves it and will hold on as Easton Cowan was sifting in there on that right side. So a break in the action with the Leafs trailing 1-0. First preseason game of 6. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Hi there, it's Will Arnett here, host of Smartless, a podcast I do with my pals. Sean Hayes and Jason Bateman. On SmartList, we connect people from all walks of life with special guests from Larry David, Selena Gomez, Arnold Schwarzenegger to Presidents Joe Biden, Barack Obama, and Bill Clinton. But it's an off-the-cuff podcast examining the nooks and crannies of an English muffin to breaking down world affairs. And now you can hear every new episode a full week early on the SiriusXM app. Just search SmartList to join the fun.
The Power Play with Steve Koulias.
You either put up or shut up. Marchand does, Doughty does, Stone does. And if you don't have enough of those players, get rid of them, because they'll make you lose. They'll frustrate the fan base. I want people that are with me, rowing in the same direction. And if you can't, get out of town. We'll find someone who can.
The Power Play, weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and the SiriusXM app.
The UEFA Champions League is back on Sirius XM FC, and this year it's bigger than ever.
Absolutely ridiculous from Real Madrid. Merseyside magic from Mo Salah.
Now with more matches featuring soccer's most iconic clubs as they battle it out for European supremacy.
What a start for Inter! Haaland scores the hat-trick!
From the league phase to the final, the Champions League is on Sirius XM FC 157 and the all-new Sirius XM app.
Join me, Gord Stellick, and Scott Laughlin as we recap the night that was on NHL Morning Skate, weekday mornings at 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91.
Leafs Radio Network.
Face-off coming in the Ottawa zone. Armin Zagarian and Andrew Hammond back here trying to help out.
Holland.
Or Holland, did I say Hammond?
You're thinking of the Hamburglar.
Hamburglar in Ottawa, yeah. Stephen Coyle. And back at the shop, we've got Andrew Adams as the Senators break in, and Wall makes another good glove save.
Well, ill-advised pinch by Timothy Liljegren led to the 2-on-1 back the other way. Morgan Riley took away the pass, and Joseph Wall handled the shot from Zach McEwen. And even Craig Berube, they wanted to set the tone right at training camp. I know this is the first period of the first preseason game. People may not think much of it, but I have a feeling Craig Berube is going to have some rather stern discussions with his big boys. We haven't seen Austin Matthews on the ice a lot, have we?
No, they've been rolling the four lines, and then he hasn't done any penalty killing. A centering pass, and Domi ripped it wide of the net. Leafs still with just a one shot on goal, and Ottawa with 11. Sends back in the corner. Nylander rubs out his man on the boards. Banked off the official. It comes in front of the net. Nylander couldn't backhand it to the cage. Now he's able to get it away, and Nyes works it back to the blue line. Fed around back of the net for Domi. Domi unable to reach it. Pinching down is Ekman Larsson. And now here is Sens back in their own zone, and it'll be played out into the center ice area. Off the boards and down into the Toronto zone. Tanev around the boards to Reeves on the right wing. Maybe keep an eye on that, Jimmy, because you're right, we haven't seen him. As the Sens get it in front of the net, knocking it back. Another penalty coming to Toronto. And a high stick.
Now, is this going to be the third high sticking penalty of the period? Yes, it is, and it's going to be Morgan Riley again.
The Leafs aren't down a man on the bench.
2-minute minor high sticking.
Oh, here comes Matthews. He's going to do some penalty killing. All right, never mind.
Well, he's only played 4 minutes and 8 seconds to this point. He's picking up. The Leafs, we're spending a lot of time in their own zone. They've had short stretches in the offensive zone, but for the most part, they've been back on their heels in this game.
17:40 the time of the penalties. Or penalty. Third of the period to Toronto. This set them back here being shorthanded. As the puck comes out at center, Matthews couldn't get away. Now McCabe sends it back to Matthews in his own end. He's going to send a long saucered pass attempt for Marner that didn't connect. There the Sens getting it out at center. Batherson to the line, got it in on the right side. Shane Pinto got it to the net, and as it was rolling to the goal line, Wall reached back and got the paddle down to pull it back into his body and hold it out.
Well, that's a spectacular stop. It's Shane Pinto down the right wing side. Fires the puck. Low blocker on Joseph Wall, who kicks it out. And right onto the stick of the Ottawa forward. I believe it was Drake Batherson that had to go right onto his stick in the blue paint, and somehow Wall falls back, gets his goal stick across the line. Batherson didn't get a lot on it, but Wall still had to make a spectacular move to keep it out.
Yeah, Nyes looked like he was breaking there on a shorthanded rush, but he gloved the puck and now didn't get it down to his own stick before Yarncrook touched it, so a glove pass has been whistled down. Minute 38 to go in the period.
It really has been a long time when you look at the Leafs-Ottawa rivalry and the Ottawa-Montreal rivalry where they've been good at the same time. Right? You know, you had that stretch when Ottawa went to the conference finals. The Leafs were missing the playoffs then. But not since those early Battle of Ontario series have you really seen both these teams
be part of the elite.
Yeah.
Yep.
At the same time.
Swept down into the Toronto zone. Delayed offside that the Senators tag up on, but the Leafs have airmailed it out and down the ice. 55 seconds left in the power play. Minute 12 in the period. Pass ahead from Addison gets into the left wing corner. Played around the boards by Tyler Clevin. It'll come to the right wing point. Back to Addison. Over on the right wing side, trying to work in. It's played back to Addison once more. Long shot coming, deflected wide, and Wall had to do a nice move with that right pad to get in front of it to knock it into the corner. Pass high, knocked down by Wall, played into the corner with less than a minute to go in the period. Nikolai Kulemin, the former Leaf, getting it back to the blue line. Long shot, blocked away by Wall. Shot number 14 on the period for the Sens as it is cleared out into the center ice area. 6 seconds left in the penalty. So if you're going to take some positives from the first 20 minutes, the play of Joseph Wall and the penalty killing has been 3 for 3. Other than that,
which has had a lot to do with the play of Joseph Wall.
Yes. Nylander getting it out at center, but just 2 seconds left in the period.
And it is a different look penalty kill. Players were saying that is one thing that they're going to have to get used to, but 3 for 3 in the opening period. But the Leafs have got to be much better in the offensive zone to try to get some makeup calls.
In 7 games. These 6 games. Yeah. Let's get better for the 7th game.
Yeah, but it's always, you remember the year Eddie Belfour came in, and Eddie was horrible. His first year in preseason was horrible. I think 3 of the 4 starts he gave up a goal in the first shot, and everybody was up in arms, and then he goes, season opener was in Pittsburgh, he shuts out the Penguins 6-0. Everything's great after that. But because we have to live in the moment, Leafs have to be a lot better, especially when you look at the difference between the lineups. Now, what also happens is this means a lot more to the Ottawa players in the lineup than it does to the Leaf players. You got kind of a strange mix.
It's a balance. You're right. Well, Ailish Forfar along with Gord Stellick coming along with our intermission. It is 1-0 Ottawa. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Congratulations to Shohei Ohtani on becoming the first player in Major League Baseball history to hit 50 home runs and steal 50 bases in the same season.
He swings, hits a drive to left. This ball's back. There it is. Number 50. He is incredible.
Talk baseball. Experience history all day, every day on MLB Network Radio, Sirius XM 89, and the all-new Sirius XM app.
The Power Play with Steve Koulias.
You either put up or shut up. Marchand.
Hey, Insiders. Thank you for hanging out with us tonight during this Toronto Maple Leafs game. Everybody that's new here, please hit that subscribe button to become an Insider right now. What are you waiting for? It's hockey season. Make sure that bell is turned on so you don't miss it when we go live for every single Toronto Maple Leafs game of the season. Oh yeah, and we do a lot of other sports action here on TSI. But we're glad you're here. It's hockey season. Let's get back after it in the chat. Let's have some fun. Go Leafs, go! Hit that subscribe button. Don't forget, if you're new, please hit it. Join this crew of insiders here as we push 40,000. See you guys back in the chat. Go Leafs, go!
With the chance to get some more goals and points, do it. If I was a coach, I wouldn't care. Who cares? Worry about your own team. Don't worry about mine.
SiriusXM, NHL Network Radio. SiriusXM 91. And on your schedule with the SiriusXM app. NHL Morning Skate.
The LA Kings just been a funny animal about their goaltending. I mean, Jonathan Quick for so many years, and then flashes in the pan that quickly dissipate. And Vegas is a great example. They won with Logan Thompson and Aiden Hill. And that was good enough goaltending to win a Stanley Cup, and that, at a minimum, is what the Los Angeles Kings need to do.
NHL Morning Skate with Scott Laughlin and Gord Stellar. Weekdays 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and the SiriusXM app. On and off the ice.
Steven Stamkos. You wonder, is that it for him with the Tampa Bay Lightning? He's the guy that's probably, with Marty St. Louis and Vinny LeCavalier, recognized as the all-time greatest Tampa Bay Lightning players. This is all about deciding whether or not the price is going to be right to keep your captain around and potentially keep him a Tampa Bay Lightning member for his entire career.
SiriusXM, NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and on your schedule with the SiriusXM app.
The UEFA Champions League is back on Sirius XM FC, and this year it's bigger than ever.
Absolutely ridiculous from Real Madrid. Merseyside magic from Mo Salah.
Now with more matches featuring soccer's most iconic clubs as they battle it out for European supremacy.
What a start for Inter! Haaland scores the hat-trick!
From the league phase to the final, the Champions League is on Sirius XM FC 157 and the all-new Sirius XM app.
And then
here's a chance. Oh, what a stop!
There were eight.
Went the line, long drive, rebound, they scored! Zadorov behind the net for Garland in front. Lindholm scores! As Martin backs it in, he scores!
With the first round behind us, the battles only get more intense.
Blocked by Montour. Out in front, Pavelski!
Follow your favorite team.
The Stanley Cup playoffs continue.
NHL Network Radio,
SiriusXM 91 and the SiriusXM app.
Join me, Gord Stellick, and Scott Laughlin as we recap the night that was on NHL Morning Skate, weekday mornings at 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91.
The Leafs Radio Network.
Welcome back to Molson Leafs Hockey on Sportsnet 590, the fan of the Maple Leafs Radio Network. Ailish Schwarfar and Gordon Stellick for your intermission shows and post-game this evening. Leafs trail 1-0 to the Ottawa Senators after that first period, and they recorded one shot. Gordo, what's going on here? It's early, but that was sloppy.
Wondering if Craig Berube will make it to Thanksgiving. I don't know. We're not quite there, but I'm glad we didn't do our predictions on the air.
No, we were the game, embarrassing, weren't we?
Well, because last night the Buffalo Sabres did exactly this. They had a home ice game against Pittsburgh, loaded their team up. Crosby company didn't come to town, and they just stuck it to the Pittsburgh Penguins. Now, we still have 40 minutes here, but, it starts with they call them undisciplined high-stick penalties in the offensive zone. They still do happen, but Matthew Knies takes 14 seconds, 16 seconds
no momentum
into the
there.
game, and that seemed to set the tone for an incredibly lackadaisical, and I'm being polite, first period. One shot on net. I really do not ever remember that in exhibition games, okay? I just about generally they kind of get sloppy. You get a lot of shots. You get an Ottawa Senators team right now trying to make a positive impression, and you get a Maple Leaf team looks like they're still stunned losing Game 7 against the Boston Bruins, because that's basically the lineup they threw out there tonight.
Yeah, I think it's interesting, the money line, like for folks watching at home, minus 430 for the Leafs coming to this. So they got the stacked roster, they got the better talent on the ice tonight, but that performance was extremely lackluster, and it's almost like the Sens players, who don't have a lot of NHL talent in their lineup tonight, they have something to prove. They have something to play for. They got a lot of guys that we're looking at like, who are you? Where did you play? And it seems like they've just come out with a little bit more oomph, and you've got a lineup with a lot of NHL talent on the Leafs side, and it felt sloppy, and it's obviously the first game. It's the first period. We can look back on this maybe as a it may be an overreaction, but you mentioned it. 3 high sticking penalties, those are controllable things for the Leafs. You get 1 shot on net. And I guess the most positive thing that we could start with is Joseph Woll looked really good. He made a lot of really good saves for the Leafs. He's got a big opportunity to try to win that, 1A starter's position, and he had one there with the I think a minute and a half left where he came with a stick save that was, gave the crowd something to cheer about, as you said. But Joseph Woll had a really good period, so there's your positive note.
Well, the other positive is only down 1-0.
Yeah, that's true.
And these are the most diehard fans that are trying to get the Go Leaf Ghost chant because, you got fans that want to come to the Edmonton game, or they want to come to Pittsburgh, or they want to come to whatever.
You're going to remortgage their house.
Yes, and you got a Sunday night against the Ottawa Senators. These are diehard fans. The first couple of minutes, like Willie Nylander's first shift or two, I was kind of at Max Pacioretty, all the stuff we talked about before. And then it's kind of a haze. Then it's kind of, it ended up being like almost Thursday night shitty the way they played. Couldn't get things good and couldn't get shots through. And as we mentioned, it's the first 20 minutes. It's funny. Jan Jenik is one of those Ottawa guys. And not only did he score the goal, but you and I just commented, and Austin Matthews, his first kind of argument as the captain with the ref, thinking it was kind of a cheap shot, but he chose not. And it was Jan Jenik, and who goes after him? Ryan Reeves. And he goes, whatever. So he skates.
He jumped off the ice so quick.
Guy's a smart player. He scored the only goal, and smart player. And Ryan Reeves, doing what he's supposed to do when it looks like a cheap shot was taken. So Jan Jenik, I did not think we'd be talking a lot about him in the first intermission, but we are.
He's the first star of the game right now.
So far.
Yeah, he's making things happen. I guess the power play also deserves a shout out, or the penalty kill. Sorry.
Yeah.
They kill all 3 of those. But the first goal by Jan Jenik, as you mentioned, was a beautiful shot, but just a sloppy play where I think it's Morgan Rielly and also Chris Tanev. They go into the corner on the same player, like both defensemen in the same corner. They leave the slot wide open and the goal scored. It's preseason. I just wonder, like, when Morgan Rielly's playing with another new defense partner, and this has been the Morgan Rielly story where they haven't ever had someone really stick with him. I'm excited about seeing what Chris Tanev has to bring to this team, but lack of communication early on, it's going to be something we see throughout on both sides of the ice. But that one to me was, preventable. Hey, I got the guy, you cover the net. But both guys in the same corner, maybe not the best showing for night one.
But I remember, actually, it goes way back when Mike Babcock was coaching the Detroit Red Wings. I don't always remember this, but they were a really good team. And they had a game in Montreal once, and he kind of kidded, said, we're not even going to watch the video. We just had a couple of beers on the flight home. Like, it was just, a real good team that won those kind of games. This would be one of those right now. 20 minutes, so you turn the, what's the point? I mean, these guys are in the NHL. They know how to play, whatever. It just, from the drop of the puck, it just started going sideways. And now they can come out. I mean, you got a new coaching staff. You got some new players.
Yeah, you got
the
a new
game
captain.
at home.
This could be a cool opportunity. Matthews, get in there and say, yeah, this ain't happening.
Yeah, you want to get the bugs out stuff. So let's have a kick-ass kind of game like we thought. So we'll see. I got to think it's going to be a lot different last 40 minutes. I mean, 14-1, the shots on goal in favor of Ottawa. I don't know what the odds would have been for that, about talking about that after 20 minutes of play. But one thing with Ottawa, there are jobs to be had, maybe as much as any other team in the National Hockey League. So if you're making an impression, that's a good place to be, because they got much more of an open mind than, say, here or most of the other NHL destinations.
Yeah, they've got a big gap to try to fill from last season. They want to make a playoff push. They want to be better than they were, and they have lots of spots up for grabs. All right, so 1-0 for the Ottawa Senators after 20 minutes. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back and get you set for the start of the second period. You're listening to Most Leafs Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
What makes a job in the skilled trades at Ontario Power Generation different? For starters, we're not just welders, electricians, millwrights, and boilermakers. We are sustainable future builders. And every day, we're building, expanding, and innovating the equipment and technology that keeps Ontario powered with clean, reliable energy. Are you ready to start a career that has the power to electrify life on and off the job? Apply now at opg.com/jobs.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate online at carsforkids.ca. That's cars with a K. Pickup is quick and easy. You'll benefit a child and get a maximum tax credit.
1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate today, and your car can be gone tomorrow. We have a plan that's connecting Ontario. We're building new roads and highways like the Bradford Bypass and Highway 413 to shorten your daily commute by up to an hour. And adding more lanes to reduce gridlock on some of North America's busiest routes to keep you and our economy moving forward. Also, you can get around faster, safer, easier. See what we're building in your community at ontario.ca/builds. Paid for by the Government of Ontario.
This October on Sportsnet.
Did you see that?
Be here for a brand new season. For rivalries.
Wow.
Be here for superstars. Because once the action starts, here we go. The excitement is here to stay. October 8th, the puck drops here.
Are you ready?
Sportsnet, here for hockey.
It's fall. In love with Ontario time. Fall for the brightest of seasons. Fall into the leaves. To the sound of a waterfall. Fall for a new hiking trail. A harvest. A wine tasting. Fall asleep in a whole new place. And rise to the perfect crisp day. And remember, fall is short. Plan yours now at destinationontario.com.
There's a place where it's all happening. A place that's rebuilding its economy by connecting northern mines with southern manufacturing might. A place with over $44 billion in new investments in the first electric vehicle and battery plants in Canada, where more people are working today, taking home bigger paychecks. That place is Ontario. Learn more at ontario.ca/rebuilding our economy. Paid for by the Government of Ontario.
You're listening to Toronto Maple Leafs playoff hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Leafs Radio Network.
Welcome back to Molson Leafs Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan, the Maple Leafs Radio Network. Leafs trail 1-0 after 20 minutes at Scotiabank Arena, and the shots 15-1 for the Sens. You know what? Just flush it, right, Gord?
Yeah.
Like, just to go in there and you say, okay, we had some rust. Now let's go out there and win the next two periods.
Yeah, quite often you say that after a game, but you'll say it after the period. And, it's funny, Mark Savard, now an assistant coach of the Leafs, was one of us that did this, for a year with me, covering the Leafs, and that line, start on time. Okay,
Yes.
That's, it's overused, but it's true. Just like how we attack life sometimes, start the day and indicative of how our day's going to go. And this one, I think it was a good first minute, because I seemed a little bit into it. I killed the penalty off to Nyes and that, but yeah, it's exhibition anyway, so you keep perspective, but park it, and let's see a little bit more of what we know we can see for this team. And let's lift this crowd is dying.
Yeah, they want
dying,
something.
They're having fun regardless, and give them a little bit more for showing up tonight. I think we're going to see that in the next 20. Full marks to an Ottawa Senator team, an unknown kid at the Belleville Senators, for going out there and just saying, look, we want to make an impression on our brass.
Yeah, no, I think this crowd, they want to come and enjoy a cheaper night where they can get to a Leafs game. A lot of people won't come to another game probably this season, so I think that's good perspective. We'll give them something to cheer about. You got a new coach who might go in there and deal with it a little differently than Sheldon Keefe. You got a new captain in Austin Matthews. It'll be interesting just to see what a response is like for the Leafs after a slow first period, because we've seen that before mid-January after a sloppy start. So this is an example for them to show us that it's not the same old Leafs. It's not going to be a long season. And we're having fun. All right, so we'll send it over to Joe Bowen and Jim Ralph, who will have the call the second period next. You're listening to Molson Leafs Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
From study beats and tailgate party anthems.
Welcome to the jungle. We got fun and games.
To informative podcasts and live college football.
30, 20, you're not going to catch him. The brick breezes into the end zone. Touchdown!
Add some school spirit to any moment this fall.
This is my fight song.
With an all-new collection in the SiriusXM app. Just search Back to School.
The Power Play with Steve Koulias.
You either put up or shut up. Marchand does, Doughty does, Stone does. And if you don't have enough of those players, get rid of them, because they'll make you lose. They'll frustrate the fan base. I want people that are with me, rowing in the same direction. And if you can't, get out of town. will find someone who can.
The Power Play. Weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app.
The UEFA Champions League is back on Sirius XM FC, and this year it's bigger than ever.
Absolutely ridiculous from Real Madrid. Merseyside magic from Mo Salah.
Now with more matches featuring soccer's most iconic clubs as they battle it out for European supremacy.
What a start for Inter. Haaland scores the hat-trick.
From the league phase to the final, the Champions League is on Sirius XM FC 157 and the all-new Sirius XM app.
Join me, Gord Stellick, and Scott Laughlin as we recap the night that was on NHL Morning Skate, weekday mornings at 7 a.m.
Hey everybody, thanks for hanging out with us with this awesome community of Toronto sports fans here on TSI tonight for the Leafs game. Please share this link out to your friends, put it on the social boards, put it out on social media. However, let's get more people here in the chat hanging out with us, and the best way to do that is for you to share this link. I can only do so much on my end. We'll get back to it. Now let's go get our friends and have some fun in the chat. We'll see you guys back in there. Cheers, everybody.
Radio Network.
Back here at Scotiabank Arena, the revamped Scotiabank Arena, the unfinished revamped Scotiabank Arena. They got a lot of work to do before opening night, but
I didn't realize
they're confident of getting it done.
Until I got here, I didn't realize there was construction in downtown Toronto.
Really? You know what? When they get it finished, it's really going to be something. You know that?
Oh,
we won't be here, but it'll be something.
It is great when Sunday afternoon traffic is in mid-season form.
Yeah.
Wednesday night.
Leafs to the left and the Sens are to the right. Matthews, Marner, Nyes. Nyes got it to the line, but couldn't get it in deep, and then it turns into an offside. All right, everybody else has pontificated about this. I want your opinion. John Tavares passes the torch. Captaincy now on number 34.
Watching John Tavares in the interviews through training camp, to me, is a different player. He looks more relaxed, less careful about what he's saying and how he's saying it, and I think it's a good thing. And obviously, eventually, it's going to be Austin Matthews' team to take over. Obviously, that's been accelerated this season. But I think there could be some huge benefits for John Tavares as well, where it's not having to talk to the media after every game.
I agree. I think that, and I would be, and I do not have any inside information on this whatsoever, but here's a pass now for the Sens. A rolling puck in front. Wall came across, made a nice little save there. I honestly think that some talk was made about an extension, about a club-friendly stay in Toronto after next season when his contract is up. And it wouldn't surprise me at all that was all part and parcel as Nylander brings it in over the line. A pass into the slot and a shot went wide. The rebound is tucked to the side of the net and a good save made by Sogard. And that's just the second shot on goal for the Maple Leafs.
That was Oliver Ekman-Larsson had snuck down into the right wing circle and almost jammed the loose puck home. Ekman-Larsson wearing 95, which I believe is what he wore in Florida last year.
And two legitimate right-hand shot defensemen added in Tanev and Ekman-Larsson.
Yanni Hakanpää is trying to work his way back, get healthy as well.
Played out and off the stick and down into the Leaf zone, and McCabe goes back into his own territory. Played it up on the wing to the line and out. Senators have had 3 power plays in the first period. Their goal did not come with the man advantage, as it was scored by Yannick. Nikolai Kulemin picking up an assist and McEwen getting the other. Sends back in on the left wing. Stopped up and sent rink wide by Gaudette. At the point, a long shot in traffic went off the skate in front of the net of Cade Weber. The puck comes free, and the Maple Leafs, through some debris, get it out at center ice. Here's Liljegren in on the left wing. Got a return pass, but couldn't get his stick untangled there from the checking and wasn't able to redirect it. Now the linesman doing a nice job of cleaning up the debris. He's got 2 sticks in his hand. Here, the shot taken by Ottawa goes high over top of the net. Back to the point. It comes on the right wing side. Kept alive over there by Cruikshank. Backhanded in along the board. Centering pass in front was blocked before it reached Hall. And it is played out into the center ice area. Tavares had the stick knocked out of his hand. Had more sticks on the ice and in players' mitts. Brought back in over the line by Ottawa. Centering pass goes astray. Gobbled up by Quinlan. Jacob Quinlan gets it out at center, and Reeves getting it in over the line, but got tangled up there with the linesman. And the puck ends up sliding back into Toronto territory. 3 minutes played into the second period. And still 1-0 Ottawa. An errant pass down into the send zone goes for no icing. Senators dig it out and bring it back. Noah Gregor in on the left wing. A weak shot deflected well wide of the net. Shot from the far right wing side. Blockered away by Wall. Into the corner it goes now for Amadio. Back to the point. Left wing side at the point. Clevin got it into the slot. No one there. And the Leafs are able to punch it out. McCabe in over the line. Looking to slide it in there for Jacob Quinlan. Quinlan back of the net. Banks it back to the blue line. Ekman Larsson's shot was off the mark wide. Leafs are changing. Easton Cowan couldn't come up with it. And it's launched high to center ice and down into the Toronto end. Nyes replaces Cowan, and the puck comes in over the line. Pass by Marner, and he tried to redirect it over for Nyes, but it went too far for him. Nyes works into the corner, back to Marner, back to Nyes. Couldn't get out in front of the net. McEwen will play it around the boards. The Leafs are able to keep it in momentarily, then stolen by Marner on a nice play. Matthews, Marner gets tangled up and knocked down there by Zach McEwen, and the Senators have it in their own end. 1-0 Ottawa. Liljegren back in the Toronto zone. Puck intercepted. Chipped ahead. Nyes gave it away, but then recovered it once more, and now allows Liljegren to play it up on the right wing and down into the Ottawa end. Matthews in pursuit, but the puck will come to center. Cleared back into neutral ice. Domi gets it down into Ottawa territory. Along the boards, pinching there is Tanev. Tanev in against the wall, trying to get it freed up, but Gaudette for Ottawa has spun it around to the left wing side. Cut off there by Riley into the slot. Yarncrook a shot. That didn't make it through as it was blocked in front of the net. May have gone off the hand of Nylander, who's kind of shaking it a little bit as he heads to the bench. Senators down on the Leaf end. Trying to play it in front of the goal is Bourgault. The puck along the boards, knocked down there by Tavares, but he's able to clear the puck out at center before it's shot right back in again. Feel free to jump in here.
All right. I think you're in mid-season form. I've always found I could only screw that up.
Centering pass, knocked away. Leafs will spin it back up ice. 3-on-2 rush, trying to develop. In across the line, Pacioretty to Tavares. Oh, and he had McCabe going hard to the net. McCabe got the pass, but couldn't make contact, or he might have had pretty much of an empty net to deflect it in had he made any contact whatsoever. Back of the net. Your thoughts on Max Pacioretty on a professional tryout?
I would say interesting. Brett Treliving did say, look, we obviously brought him here expecting him to stick with the team, but that he backed that up by saying everybody's got to earn their spot.
Well, there was lots of talk about Nick Robertson, and finally an extension was signed after he had asked for a trade. And then when you sign Pacioretty, you start to go through it, and where is the spot for Nick Robertson? Pacioretty couldn't, or at least couldn't get to it as Quinlan couldn't get a shot away, and it's cleared back into the Toronto end. Leafs have played better here in the second period, but still trail 1-0.
Like you said, just the one shot on goal by Oliver Ekman-Larsson as
Reeves getting into a shoving session here with Sebrango, and now they are going to square off. So here's old-time preseason hockey. Donovan Sebrango and Reeves at arm's length and no punches thrown yet. Now Reeves with a left hand and a jab that knocked the Ottawa player right down. I don't even know if it was a jab. Yeah, I guess it was.
I'll say where the admiration goes both sides. Ryan Reeves is a veteran player that doesn't necessarily have to fight in preseason anymore, but obliges the Ottawa player. And for the Ottawa player, Sebrango to turn around and say, okay, I'm going to try to show that I've got some toughness against one of the toughest players in the National Hockey League. So you give them both a little bit of credit here for putting on the show. But for Ryan Reeves, you could easily see him saying, hey, sorry, kid, not tonight. But he did oblige.
6:58, the time of the penalties. And it's 1-0 Ottawa. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on Sportsnet 590, The Fan, and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
As fall approaches and birds head south, a different kind of bird emerges, the Subaru. While migratory flocks seek warmth, Subaru's symmetrical full-time all-wheel drive keeps drivers soaring through the wild. During the migrating season, Subaru's hunger for adventure grows exponentially, driving the intrigued radio listeners to fall for Subaru at their local Subaru dealerships, experiencing an adventure of their own. So migrate to your local Subaru dealership to book a test drive today.
NHLshop.ca, the official online store of the National Hockey League, and Canada's largest selection of officially licensed NHL fan gear. With unique one-of-a-kind designs by Fanatics and all the latest styles for every NHL team. Don't miss out. Shop now and get today's special offer. NHLshop.ca, a Fanatics experience.
It's fall. In love with Ontario time. Fall for the brightest of seasons. Fall into the leaves. To the sound of a waterfall. Fall for a new hiking trail, a harvest, a wine tasting. Fall asleep in a whole new place and rise to the perfect crisp day. And remember, fall is short. Plan yours now at destinationontario.com.
You're listening to Toronto Maple Leafs playoff hockey.
Holy mackerel, what a move!
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Leafs Radio Network.
Joe Bowen and Jim Ralph back here. This is 27 or 8 years for you.
28 years?
28
well,
years.
Radio side.
Yeah.
But
43.
Well, we had been around each other because I did the back when Global TV had a 25-game package. You moved to radio only then before coming back to do TV and radio. So it's been a few years for both of us, hasn't
Yes,
it?
it has. Yes, it has.
You came in 82. In 87, I was Gord Stellick's biggest mistake signing. Playing in the American League.
Tatum to Marner. Center in front. They score. Nice. Finishes off that nifty play from Mitchell Marner. And Chris Tanev is going to get an assist on the goal. And the Maple Leafs have tied the game at 1.
And Matthews, a nice drop to Tanev, who then starts things off. We talked about who was due for the breakout year. Many think it's Joseph Wall. I think it might be Matthew Nyes. And a great pass by Mitch Marner. He takes a deflected pass off his skate, kicks it to his stick, and from the goal line to the left of Sogard, throws it across the top of the crease onto the stick of Nyes, who puts it in. And yes, you can go after Mitch Marner and a lot of the Leafs, the lack of production in the postseason. But man, there aren't many players in the league that can do what he does.
No, and I have my own thought on that. When we get to a stoppage of play, I would like you to comment on my pontification as the Leafs get it out into the center ice area. Nylander getting it ahead. Yarncrook in on the right side with a shot that was blocked away by Sogard. It'll be cleared out and down the ice, but no icing. And McCabe goes back to retrieve it. Up ahead at center. Along the boards trying to knock it in is Grebenkin, and does. Nylander sifting in front, but had it knocked away. Grebenkin gets it back of the net. Can't get it in front. Against the boards, a good hit in there by Pacioretty. A centering pass intercepted by the Senators, and they'll get it out at center ice. Brought in over the line now by Bourgault. He couldn't get a shot delivered as Liljegren rode him nicely off the puck, and the Leafs get it back out at center ice. Tavares working it on the right side, trying to bull his way in front. Got it in front of the net. Pacioretty has deflected it off the shoulder of the goalkeeper. Liljegren back to the left point. McCabe, a shot, deflects over the glove of Sogard, who was somewhat shocked that it didn't go into his mitt because it was redirected nicely in front of the goal by Grebenkin. Back come the Sens. Bit of a 2-on-1 down low. Shot stopped by Wall. Another shot stopped by Wall. Centering in front. Wall stops that. He's sprawled all over the puck. Goes into the net. But are they calling it a goal? Apparently they are.
Yeah, the official right away, standing to the back of the net, is pointing at it, and it might be Reinhart. That is the last Senator to bang it in. It just seemed that every time the puck bounced, it ended up on an Ottawa stick. And yeah, it was Reinhart for the top of the crease with Joseph Wall sprawled out across the goal line. John Tavares trying to help out, and yeah, it just does sneak under Joseph Wall and over the goal line, so the Ottawa Senators have quickly regained their 1-goal lead.
9:14 the time of the goal. And the Leafs play it down in, and Nyes driving the net one-handed, and he's going to draw a penalty, and the Leafs will go to their first power play. My thought on Mitch Marner.
Right.
Because his contract is in the situation that it is, and because of what has transpired during the postseason and everything else, and yes, he didn't have a very good postseason last year, points-wise.
2 minutes for whole league.
He had to be the sacrificial lamb as far as the media was concerned. And it just seemed to me that nothing else was going to go on with the others because nothing could happen. But here was a chance, trade him, get rid of the contract, everything else, and he ended up getting the bullseye put on him, really, for what I think was not the right reason. There was no reason for it. Now, the loose puck is swallowed up here by Sogard. He's going to hang on.
No, I think part of it was the frustration of the last 7 years. You haven't seen that progression from the group. Maybe it was worse on Marner this year because Matthews and Nylander were hurt during the playoffs. So they weren't in every game. Marner was. So you're saying now you're supposed to be the guy because the other parts of the core four are playing injured. But Brett Treliving, you'll remember, was in a position where Matthew Tkachuk wanted out of Calgary. Had to make a trade, and you thought at the time, that's a pretty good deal if you had to move Tkachuk to get Jonathan Huberdeau out of Florida.
Yep.
And
Huberdeau,
it didn't work out.
No.
Obviously with Calgary, it has worked out in Florida. But that's the thing. You want to trade Mitch Marner, fine. Do not assume you're going to get equal value back.
Play down into the Ottawa zone. Leafs on the power play. Matthews working it off on the right wing side. Now works in with a pass down low. Nylander takes it around back of the net. Back for Matthews. Played up on the wing, but the Sens are going to get it out and play it down into the Leaf end. Shane Pinto gets after the puck in the far corner and is trying to pin it there, but Morgan Riley is on him, and 3 Leafs are trying to dig it away, and Pinto finally is unable to control it. Matthews and Marner, or at least Nylander, now getting it out at center. Nyes works it on the right side. Matthew Nyes, about 15 pounds heavier, obviously stronger. It's the other area where you talk about somebody breakout year. You're developing into a young man instead of a young lad coming out of college hockey.
He's got the football player neck now, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. He has worked hard at his conditioning. Domi in across the line. Penalty is 24 seconds left in it. Domi around back of the net to the left wing boards. Works it back to the point, and as he tried to make a pass, it's deflected into the Toronto bench. And play whistled dead. There'll be a face-off coming in the center, or down. No, they're going to say it's down into the Sens end of the building with 8:51 to go in the second period. 16 seconds remaining in the power play. Amadio and Yannick have drawn the assists on the second Ottawa goal. Leafs win the face-off, control it on the far boards. Drop pass comes back to Domi, tip to McCabe, back to Domi, working in on the half boards, down low, gets it back again. Domi looking in front of the net. The penalty is over. Coming to the front of the net was Nyes. And a good save made by Sogard. Shot from the point. Sogard stopped that. Leafs tried to keep it in, but it went right by McCabe. And the Sens get it down into the Toronto end, but can't get it in front. And a pretty good hit by Ekman Larsson and another one by McCabe. Centering pass. Scores! From behind the net. Coming in late was Adam Gaudette. And the Sens open a 2-goal lead.
Then after the Leafs had their opportunity in the power play, Jan Jannik was the one that picked up the puck in behind the Leaf net. He had opened the scoring for the Senators and found Gaudette, who rips it from the right wing circle. Adam Gaudette's been around for a while. Last played in St. Louis, but with Springfield in the American League last year, led the American Hockey League in goals with 44. Trying to make it with the Ottawa Senators, it's not going to be easy, but you see a release like that, it's going to help your chances.
The whole play started when Jake McCabe had the puck
just squirt past him
at the blue line, and then they were on the efforts to get back, and Matt Murray has taken over in goal for Toronto. And the Senators will know all about him. The former Pittsburgh Penguin was viewed to be their salvation in goal a couple of years ago. It didn't work out. Murray ends up coming to Toronto. And injuries have been a big factor for him.
Still only 30 years of age.
Yep, but signing him now for insurance with Wall and having him as a third guy, really, trying to look. I mean, they've got
Wall and Stolarz, for sure.
Stolarz, but Hildeby is certainly going to get a look here in preseason as well, as the Sens bring it in on the right side with a pass, and that's broken up in front of the Leaf goal. Marner starts away on the right wing. Matthews back to Marner in over the line. Marner trying to center. That didn't work. He gets it again and plays it back to the blue line. McCabe quickly to Ekman Larsson. Down into the corner to Nyes. Tried to find Matthews in front. Matthews steals the puck back. Ekman Larsson gets it into the corner. Marner to the point. Matthews with a drive. Oh, and that chopped down Shane Pinto, who's limping, as a centering pass is going to be knocked off the side of the goal, and Sogard couldn't control it. Cleared down the ice, but it will just go wide of the Leaf goal, and so icing is going to be called. So the Leafs' goaltending depth is probably there. I mean, I'm anxious to see Hildeby play.
Yeah, I'm with you. We talked about that last year. That would have been nice to maybe, when they had some injuries, instead of, Martin Jones, I think, did an admirable job coming in and filling in when the Leafs were going through the injury problems. But I thought last year would have been a great time to see Dennis Hildeby.
Yannick has picked up a goal and 2 assists here in this exhibition game for Ottawa. 6:26 to play in the period. Leafs trail by a pair after tying the game on a goal by Matthew Nyes. Pass ahead for Domi. Backhanded in over the line. Yarncrook goes after it, but it comes free back of the net. Tyler Clevin trying to get it up on the left wing, has it blocked. Domi after it as it comes back on the wing, and it'll be pushed out at center, forcing Christopher Tanev back into his own zone. Morgan Riley, a pass ahead. Woo! Domi and Tavares collided there, and that is a dangerous spot right at the blue line, and looks like both are okay, but That could have been knee on knee.
Yeah, it was kind of the alley-oop pass from the Leafs zone up to the Ottawa blue line, and you had Domi coming from the left wing side, Tavares coming from the right wing side, and it looked like they knocked knees, didn't they, as they went by?
Yeah, Max got up a little slowly, and Tavares kind of glanced over to make sure he was all right, heading to the bench, but he appears to be okay down on the Toronto bench. Puck around into the Toronto zone. McCabe starts up on the left wing, an errant right wing feed will get to Cowan. He'll get it down into the zone for Pacioretty. Played around back of the net. Max Pacioretty can't center. When he does, too much traffic at front. And dug out now by the Sens, and they'll work it out at center ice. One of our favorites, Travis Green, in behind the bench of the Ottawa Senators. As a shot goes high and wide of the Leaf cage, and Reeves out of the penalty box after that fighting major gets it freed up for Ekman Larsson. He fans on a pass, now running into some traffic, couldn't get it out. Cleared around back of the Toronto goal by Ottawa. McCabe trying to dig it out there, has it kicked free. Senators play it back along the boards, and a backhand pass was redirected there in front of the net by Kuhlman, and a good save made with the left pad by Matt Murray. Murray makes another stop, and another backhand hits the side of the goal. The Senators have been the more aggressive team, there's no two ways about it. And as you mentioned, they're minor league players that are playing in this game are certainly trying to impress. Here's a drop pass. Leafs trying to work in. Trevenkin gets it to the side of the goal. It goes around back of the net. Matthews coming out. Centering pass. And a quick shot by Liljegren was turned aside by Sogard. Matthews in against the boards. And the Sens will play it out past Marner down the ice. Not enough for icing. Cade Weber going back after the loose puck. The pass comes ahead for Marner. Long rink wide. Got across for Matthews. He doesn't shoot it. Drops for Marner. Drops for Matthews. Matthews lets the shot go. It's blocked. He comes away with the rebound. Plays it back to Marner, who curls out from behind the net into the slot area, but it was intercepted. Good play made there by Cruikshank, and Angus Cruikshank gets it down into the Leaf end. 3 minutes to play in the second period. 3-1 in favor of the Ottawa Senators in Game 1. These two teams meet in Ottawa on Tuesday night. Shot stopped by Matt Murray, and it'll be played out into the center ice area. Did I say Tuesday night? Monday night, right? No, Tuesday night. I'll be all right.
We don't do many Sunday night home games.
No, we don't. You're right. Yarncrook centering pass, and Domi couldn't get a skate on it to keep it in. And it'll be brought back down into the Toronto zone. Long pass for Domi, too far. Played around the boards by Tyler Clevin. Nylander back to the point. Shot kicked away by Sogard. And another shot is caught, this time by Sogard. The Leafs, who had just one shot on goal in the first period, have had 9 here in the second, but it's the Senators who have built a 3-1 lead. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on Sportsnet 590, The Fan, and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
To truly go inside the game of pro football, you need to see things from the player's perspective.
Let's go.
Every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern, catch the Player's Point.
Let's go. Bring energy.
Join NFL tight end Colin Thompson and Miami Dolphins fullback Alec Ingold as they break down the biggest stories in the NFL.
It's an encouraging way to look at football.
The Player's Point. Every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern on NFL Radio, Channel 88 in the car and on the all-new Sirius XM app.
Hockey 24/7 on Sirius XM NHL Network Radio.
This is the NHL. These are pros. You don't want guys to put good power play units on, don't take penalties. You don't want good power play units to score goals when you've given up a whole bunch, kill them. You don't like it, do something about it. If you want to reward your guys who had a good game with a chance to get some more goals and points, do it. If I was a coach, I wouldn't care. Who cares? Worry about your own team. Don't worry about mine.
Sirius XM NHL Network Radio. Sirius XM 91. And on your schedule with the Sirius XM app. NHL Morning Skate.
The LA Kings just been a funny animal about their goaltending. I mean, Jonathan Quick for so many years, and then flashes in the pan that quickly dissipate. And Vegas is a great example. They won with Logan Thompson and Aiden Hill. And that was good enough goaltending to win a Stanley Cup, and that, at a minimum, is what the Los Angeles Kings need to do.
NHL Morning Skate with Scott Laughlin and Gord Stellar. Weekdays 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app.
Ray Hudson here with an important announcement. You can listen to your favourite Sirius XM FC shows on the all-new Sirius XM app, now available for all subscribers.
And the Leafs Radio Network.
Face-off coming in the Ottawa zone with 2:07 to play in the period. Tavares, Pacioretty, and Easton Cowan out there now, I believe. And the draw one, Pacioretty after the puck on the left wing, sends it towards the net. It's easily caught by Mads Sogard, and another face-off coming in the Ottawa zone.
Easton Cowan did get some preseason time last year. Remember the game in St. Thomas?
Yep.
At Joe Thornton Arena.
Not too far from where he grew up, Mount Bridges, Ontario.
In the southwest of London.
Yeah, just near Strathroy. Cowan digging for the puck against the boards. Has it come free. Centered in front, Tavares. Got a great pass, but then he couldn't handle it. And he was in a pretty good spot to shoot the puck. Good play by Cowan to get it to him. Played up on the wing for Pacioretty. Pacioretty for Tavares. Spun it down into the Ottawa zone. Changes coming for Toronto. Senators get it off the boards to center. Riley punching it back. Cowan couldn't come up with it. Sens get it in over the line, but it's knocked away. Cowan's pass was blocked. Grabbed off there by Jan Yannick. Long shot stopped by Matt Murray. Leafs along the near boards trying to get it freed up. Bogo got knocked off the puck, and the Leafs are going to send it off a stick and down the ice, and another icing call is going to come in less than a minute. Mike Ross back at the microphone doing the PA here at Scotiabank Arena. Lots of familiar faces and some new ones we're going to have to meet.
It is really no different than going back to school when you see all your classmates that you didn't see over the summer. Kind of eased
some new
into
people have moved into the neighborhood. You get to see them and meet them.
But the one thing about it, we've been seeing Jacques Martin up here as part of the Ottawa Senators management team. Rob DeMaio has now joined the Senators from Anaheim. Steve Staios, of course, and Dave Poulin, both with the Leaf organization before. I tell you, they would have a pretty good management team if they had to ice a team with management only.
Yeah, icing call here against Ottawa. And Steve Sullivan, who the former Leaf, former Blackhawk, whatnot, is now an assistant coach with the Toronto Marlies, is chatting with him and asking about his mom and dad. His dad was a long-time Molson rep up in Timmins. And he was back in the beer business when it really was the beer business. He made deals and whatnot. He was a great guy. That one still is, obviously, but retired and spending a lot of time in Florida. And Steve Sullivan has 4 kids, all of them over the age of 23. That was my thought. Are you kidding me?
Because your first reaction is, boy, he's getting old, and you're thinking, wait a minute.
7 seconds left in the period, and the Sens will take it back into their own end and take a 2-goal lead to the dressing room after 40 minutes of play.
Well, a little better for the Leafs, and yet still lose the period by a score of 2-1. Only one shot in the opening period, as you mentioned, 10 shots in the second, but still being outshot overall 26-11 by the Senators, who are holding on to the 3-1 lead.
And we will step aside. Ailish Forfire along with Gord Stellick coming along with our second period intermission. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on Sportsnet 590, The Fan, and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
From the biggest stadiums to the coziest holes in the wall. From house parties to porch hangs to pride celebrations. From your favorite fuzz shop to your local Indian spot. From noodle bars to sports bars to salsa bars. There's a Molson with your name on it. Canadian Ultra XL. Molson. Everyone in. Must be legal drinking age.
September 25th.
We're going in.
Chicago Wednesday returns on City TV.
Police, get back!
We all face fear.
Crazy upside down world out there.
But only heroes run towards it.
If someone is in trouble, you do whatever you gotta do to help them. You do what it takes. You're gonna be okay. We got you now.
Chicago Med, Fire, and PD. New season's premiere, September 25th on City TV. Or stream it on City TV Plus.
What makes a job in the skilled trades at Ontario Power Generation different? For starters, we're not just welders, electricians, millwrights, and boilermakers. We are sustainable future builders. And every day, we're building, expanding, and innovating the equipment and technology that keeps Ontario powered with clean, reliable energy. Are you ready to start a career that has the power to electrify life on and off the job? Apply now at opg.com/jobs.
You're listening to Toronto Maple Leafs playoff hockey.
You know that it's game
On Sportsnet 590, The Fan, and the Leafs Radio Network.
Welcome back to Molson Leafs Hockey on Sportsnet 590, The Fan, and the Maple Leafs Radio Network. Leafs trailing 3-1 after 40 minutes. We'll get to all of our second intermission thoughts and more, but we'll take a quick break and we'll be right back on Molson Leafs Hockey on Sportsnet 590, The Fan, and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Hello, I'm James Corden, and I'm so thrilled for you to hear my show, This Life of Mine. Join me every week for incredible conversations and never-before-heard stories from the biggest stars in film, TV, fashion, music, sports, and more. Each week, we'll be talking about the people, the places, the possessions, music, and memories that have made them who they are today. This Life of Mine with me, James Corden. You can listen on Thursdays at 5 p.m. Eastern and Pacific on Stars, Channel 109, or on the SiriusXM app.
On and off the ice.
Steven Stamkos. You wonder, is that it for him with the Tampa Bay Lightning? He's the guy that's probably, with Marty St. Louis and Vinny LeCavalier, recognized as the all-time greatest Tampa Bay Lightning players. This is all about deciding whether or not the price is going to be right to keep your captain around and potentially keep him a Tampa Bay Lightning member for his entire career.
SiriusXM, NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and on your schedule with the SiriusXM app. The Power Play with Steve Koulias.
You either put up or shut up. Marchand does, Doughty does, Stone does. And if you don't have enough of those players, get rid of them, because they'll make you lose. They'll frustrate the fan base. I want people that are with me, rowing in the same direction. And if you can't, get out of town. We'll find someone who can.
The Power Play, weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and the SiriusXM app. Hockey 24/7 on SiriusXM NHL Network Radio.
This is the NHL. These are pros. You don't want guys to put good power play units on, don't take penalties. You don't want good power play units to score goals when you've given up a whole bunch, kill them. You don't like it, do something about it. If you want to reward your guys who had a good game with a chance to get some more goals and points, do it. If I was a coach, I wouldn't care. Who cares? Worry about your own team. Don't worry about mine.
SiriusXM NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and on your schedule with the SiriusXM app. NHL Morning Skate.
The LA Kings just been a funny animal about their goaltending. I mean, Jonathan Quick for so many years, and then flashes in the pan that quickly dissipate. And Vegas is a great example. They won with Logan Thompson and Aiden Hill. And that was good enough goaltending to win a Stanley Cup, and that, at a minimum, is what the Los Angeles Kings need to do.
NHL Morning Skate with Scott Laughlin and Gord Stellick. Weekdays 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and the SiriusXM app. And then,
here's a chance. Oh, what a stop!
There were eight.
At the line, long drive, rebound, they scored!
Zadorov behind the net for Garland in front. Lindholm scores! As Martin backs it in, he scores!
With the first round behind us, the battles only get more intense. Follow your favorite team.
The Stanley Cup playoffs continue.
NHL Network Radio.
Sirius XM 91 and the Sirius XM app.
The UEFA Champions League is back on Sirius XM FC, and this year it's bigger than ever.
Absolutely ridiculous from Real Madrid. Merseyside magic from Mo Salah.
Now with more matches featuring soccer's most iconic clubs as they battle it out for European supremacy.
What a start for Inter! Haaland scores the hat-trick!
From the league phase to the final, the Champions League is on Sirius XM FC 157 and the all-new Sirius XM app.
Join me, Gord Stellick, and Scott Laughlin as we recap the night that was on NHL Morning Skate, weekday mornings at 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91.
Leafs Radio Network.
Welcome back to Molson Leafs Hockey on Sportsnet 590, the fan of the Maple Leafs Radio Network. Gord Stellick and Ailish Forfar for your intermissions and post-game. And Leafs got on the scoreboard, but they're still trailing 3-1 after 40 minutes. There were some good moments, and then there's some sloppy moments, and I guess that's preseason.
Well, I like the way you tried to cheer us up here.
Yeah,
the fact that the Utah hockey team's first goal ever is an own goal into their own net.
So it could be
on
worse,
a delayed
folks.
penalty, just to say.
Welcome to the league.
Yeah, so comparable about that in preseason. So I said to you, the Ailish, as we're watching the game, like, there's just a sloppiness. It's unbelievable. You had a couple of Leafs coming off getting tangled with linesmen. You had Matthews and Riley collide and go down. Nobody around them. Then you had Domi and Tavares collide in it, and at that one looked, you wondered if either or both of them might get injured, which you're trying to avoid. Just a lot of just weird stuff happening. Not a very good effort at all. The brief glimmer, the goal just showed bang, bang. Yeah, just those kind of skilled goals in that regard. And they were back in the game, and then just some defensive faux pas, and if the world came crashing down. Matt Murray now experiencing kind of what Joe Wall had to. The goaltending's been really the best thing they've had going so far after 40 minutes.
Yeah, let's talk about Matt Murray because there was already a scheduled half game for both Joseph Wall and Matt Murray. So we get Matt Murray coming in. Unfortunately, it's right after Joseph Wall lets in the third goal. So I hope folks that are here know that he wasn't pulled. It was Matt Murray coming in around the halfway mark. But yeah, he's got a lot of intrigue around him. Obviously, he hasn't played a full NHL season in a while. He's had some injuries, and he's kind of a flyer, right? Like at this point, they've got 3 capable goalies. How are they going to split the load? Who's going to take the spot? Who's going to run with the net? And I think it's going to be a lot of intrigue of what Matt Murray can bring to this team. He's had some off-season injuries and some surgery, so it sounds like he's healthy. But I still get this nervousness when I'm watching him being like, please don't pull a groin, please don't break your knee. Like, I think we just need to watch enough Matt Murray to accept Matt Murray into our lives.
So the Ottawa Senators are trying to figure out their goaltending situation because a few years ago it was Matt Murray. That was their guy. They made the big signing from Pittsburgh. And they always say that when he was healthy,
he was great.
But that was the caveat. And here's a guy that won Stanley Cups his first 2-3 years in the league. And when Marc-Andre Fleury was injured, came in, played that well for Pittsburgh. And then, to your point, every time, and we're hoping Joe Wall's not the same, right. Freddie Anderson became like that all of a sudden, every time.
Even Samsonov had some stretches where you'd be like, oh, no.
Did something awkward. So right now, he's number 3 on the depth chart. Like I said, a lot of people kind of forgot he's even still around, and it's been proven you need depth and goal. Like you need 3 goaltender depth-wise, so we're going to get a look at him in the exhibition season, that's for sure.
So we did see a goal from the Maple Leafs. It was Matthew Knies getting the first one of the preseason, a beautiful pass from Mitch Marner, and just seeing that the skill that Mitch has to like feed it through a couple people look in the wrong direction, right on the stick of Knies, who just basically has to just one-time it into an empty net. That's the thing about Mitch Marner. He has this craftiness, this really incredible skill with the puck, and you see that today, and it was nice. He got a good pop from the crowd when they announced assist by Mitch Marner. And I know on Sportsnet during our first intermission on the TV side there was a sit down with Elliott and Marner, and we have some quotes from that. We'll probably talk about the post game, but obviously what Mitch Marner does this season is going to be of maybe number 1 importance to this team. But he looks like he's the same old Mitch, skating well and making really crafty plays. I don't know what else can be done this season without a contract, we're always going to be talking about Mitch Marner.
Well, there's so much skill in this team, and he showed that on that goal. And then right out in around there when they got their power play, Nylander fed Matthews. It was a tap in. Okay, I mean that was 5 seconds in, and those are the things that just aren't going for them tonight. But we did see that one glimmer, and like you said, we'll talk a little bit of his comments in Elliot Friedman's interview. A guy I have watched, Max Pacioretty. He's sticking his nose into things. Like you forget, he was a pretty good physical two-way player all those years. The great Toronto-Montreal rivalry when he was getting 30-plus goals for the Montreal Canadiens. So he's the player I've been watching the most, maybe the most intriguing player. This isn't a real good 40 minutes. The intriguing part is can they do it another 20? This game's been really, quite frankly, brutal, from a Maple Leaf point of view. But it's gone quick. That's another plus. And we'll see. Down 2 goals, whether it's the quick skill shots or passes by Mitch Marner do it. Come on. Let's make this a little respectable.
Yeah, I think that one thing that's been hard to watch is if they're trying a lot of these, cross-ice passes in the slot or trying to force the puck through the middle when they have enough skill to take the puck to the net and not be too fancy. Maybe there's, the allure of it being a preseason and you can dance around with the puck a bit more, but the Sens have 26 shots. They're driving the net. They're getting in the messy areas. The Leafs are not allowing are not finding that ability to do that. That's kind of been the difference. They did get 11 shots in one period, though, and 1 in the first one. So that's steps forward. We'll take a quick break. We'll give you a couple more thoughts before we send it to the third period. You're listening to Molson Leafs Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
We have a plan that's connecting Ontario. We're leading the largest transit expansion in North America. New projects like the Ontario Line subway and Hazel McCallion Light Rail will relieve overcrowding, with the Scarborough and Yonge North subways connecting more communities, and expanding GO Transit with more trips, faster train service, and two-way all-day service. Also, you can get around faster, safer, easier. See what we're building in your community at ontario.ca/builds. Paid for by the Government of Ontario.
Donate online at carsforkids.ca. That's cars with a K. Pickup is quick and easy. You'll benefit a child and get a maximum tax credit.
1-877-CARS-FOR-KIDS. Donate your car today.
Donate today, and your car can be gone tomorrow.
This October on Sportsnet.
Did you see that?
Be here for a brand new season. For rivalries.
Wow.
Be here for superstars. Because once the action starts, here we go. The excitement is here to stay. October 8th, the puck drops here.
Are you ready?
Sportsnet, here for hockey.
It was a rainy day when Pizzaville declared, "We'll never be the fastest. We'll never be the cheapest. We'll never be the snazziest dressed." What? Yeah, my point is, we want to be the best. At Pizzaville, we want to make the best pizza. Stone-baked, the traditional Italian way.
Pizzaville Stone-Baked Pizza. Fiercely Canadian. Authentically Italian.
It's fall. In love with Ontario time. Fall for the brightest of seasons. Fall into the leaves. To the sound of a waterfall. Fall for a new hiking trail, a harvest, a wine tasting. Fall asleep in a whole new place and rise to the perfect crisp day. And remember, fall is short. Plan yours now at destinationontario.com.
There's a place where it's all happening. A place that's rebuilding its economy by connecting northern mines with southern manufacturing might. A place with over $44 billion in new investments in the first electric vehicle and battery plants in Canada, where more people are working today, taking home bigger paychecks. That place is Ontario. Learn more at ontario.ca/rebuilding our economy. Paid for by the Government of Ontario.
We're your home of the Toronto Maple Leafs. Hear the action on Sportsnet 590 The Fan, streaming on the Sportsnet app and at sportsnet.ca/590.
Welcome back to Molson Leafs Hockey on Sportsnet 590, the Fan of the Maple Leafs Radio Network. 3-1 Ottawa Senators after 40 minutes. One of my highlights of the game so far, Ryan Reeves drops the gloves to fight. They, find their way. They dance it out to center ice. And the PA system puts on a song. I've never seen that before. They put on like a Rock'em Sock'em tune, and they let the guys fight. Well, it didn't last very long. But I thought that was interesting. Maybe that's a new thing they're doing here at Scotiabank Arena, but they put on music for the fight, and it felt like I was in a video game.
I thought it was like the old-fashioned Matador getting set.
Yes.
They put music, the bullfighter, coming. And, that took, you're right, because the lead-up took about 30 seconds. The fight took about 0.3 seconds.
I think the Sens player might have fallen, wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Yeah, well, it did lead to the Leaf goal, so whether it sparked them or not. But just to go back to your last one point earlier, in all honesty, I know it's only exhibition, but it ain't happening tonight. So shoot the puck. Shoot the puck at the net and drive the net. Say this is a regular season game, that our extra passes, stuff just isn't working. Get back more to beating potatoes and keep it simple.
I love it, and I agree. Okay, so we're going to send it to Joe Bowen, and Jim Ralph will have the call of the third period next. You're listening to Molson Leafs Hockey on Sportsnet 590, the Fan of the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Sports Grid Radio on Sirius XM has you covered this NFL season.
Week 3 wraps up with 2 Monday night games. It's Jags vs. Bills and Commanders vs. Bengals. The Bills opened up as a 3.5-point favorite and the Bengals a full 7. Both games started with a total at 47.5. Make sure you tune into Sports Grid Radio to stay up to date on all the latest.
The place to get the winning edge over the sports books this football season is Sports Grid Radio. Channel 159 in the car and on the Sirius XM app.
The Power Play with Steve Koulias.
You either put up or shut up. Marchand does, Doughty does, Stone does. And if you don't have enough of those players, get rid of them, because they'll make you lose. They'll frustrate the fan base. I want people that are with me, rowing in the same direction. And if you can't, get out of town. We'll find someone who can.
The Power Play, weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app.
The UEFA Champions League is back on Sirius XM FC, and this year it's bigger than ever.
Absolutely ridiculous from Real Madrid. Merseyside magic from Mo Salah.
Now with more matches featuring soccer's most iconic clubs as they battle it out for European supremacy.
What a start for Inter! Haaland scores the hat-trick!
From the league phase to the final, the Champions League is on Sirius XM FC 157 and the all-new Sirius XM app.
Join me, Gord Stellick, and Scott Laughlin as we recap the night that was on NHL Morning Skate, weekday mornings at 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91.
The biggest names in the game.
Trying to get behind Ristolainen, walks in, put it between his legs, shoots it, score!
NHL play-by-play on Sirius XM. The best hockey lives here.
Burns gets it back, stick handles to the backhand, moves in front, score!
NHL play-by-play on Sirius XM.
Ray Hudson here with an important announcement. You can listen to your favourite Sirius XM FC shows on the all-new Sirius XM app, now available for all subscribers.
CA/590.
Back here for the third period. The Maple Leafs trailing the Ottawa Senators by a score of 3-1. Preseason is to get the kinks out, and this...
You know what my favorite preseason story is? Because, I was a huge Bernie Perron fan growing up. Bernie Perron got traded back to the Philadelphia Flyers from the Leafs. Went to the WHA for a year. Coming to Toronto was Doug Favell, who was very popular in Philadelphia. Bernie Perron went back, his first game back, and the fans were already upset that Perron came back and Flyers had to give up Doug Favell. Came back, gave up 6 goals in his first period at the Spectrum at home against the New York Rangers, got booed off the ice.
I was going to say the Denizens probably didn't enjoy that.
No. And so everybody thought...
How'd things work out that year?
Well, they won a cup, Vezina, Conn Smythe Trophy, and actually won those 3 trophies in back-to-back seasons for the Flyers in 74 and 75.
So they don't talk about the 6 goals that often.
And we've already brought it up how Eddie Belfour, I believe it was 3 straight preseason games, gave up a goal in the first shot, and everybody thought, oh my God, this is horrible. How do you let Curtis Joseph go and put up with that? But of course, Eddie Belfour in a couple of solid seasons for the Leafs and some decent playoff runs as well.
Yeah, it is, and that's why also people and youngsters that perform real well in the preseason, and you think, oh, this kid's right there. He's been the best player on the ice. And then when they actually drop the puck for real, things get ramped up again. Yeah. And if you're not able to stay with the ramping, exactly, you're left on the side. Sends to the left and the Leafs to the right as they'll play it down into the Toronto zone. Ekman Larsson gets it up on the boards for McCabe. And Domi will backhand it out into center ice territory before Tyler Clevin, trying to shoot it back in, has it go into the Toronto bench and goes out of play.
Speaking of prospects, though, it's an old buddy of mine, Marty Tallman, who's a 50-goal scorer in the Leaf farm team for the Newmarket Saints. And his father-in-law was Pat Marsden.
Yes, Mars Bars.
One of the greatest all-time people.
No, and characters. Yep. Oh, absolutely.
You would want to be around.
Yep. And one of the great voices of Canadian television, especially the Canadian Football League. Pat Marsden was
synonymous with great cups, wasn't he?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Here's Domi working in on the left wing. A nice little saucer pass, looking for Yarncrook, but it was just out of his reach. And one of the famous Mars Bar stories, of course, is when he lost a bunch of money in Vegas and then refused to pay them. and won the lawsuit. I remember going in a pub, the Unionville Arms, with Mars Bars, and he was going to give me a ride home. I said, could you drive the car around the block a couple times before I get in?
Did he ask you to start it?
No, I wasn't going near it. Long shot goes wide of the net. Matt Murray down into the corner. In the old days of broadcasting, right? There might have been a little bottle of liquid cheer somewhere on that desk every once in a while. At the point, it comes to Riley, and a shot, scores! A deflection in front of the net. Morgan Riley got it away, and it looks like it's going to be Pacioretty who gets his stick on it and deflects it home.
Yeah, Pacioretty and Tavares both there as the puck is launched from the left point, and this is a shot. It is going to be Pacioretty, the first to the bench with the high fives. But this is one of those not trying to score in the point shot, but throw it into traffic and look for the redirection or rebound. And Pacioretty, who ended up getting into 47 games with the Capitals last year, but only 3 with Carolina before that. Well, it'll take a while to find his stride, but preseason or not, it's always good for anybody. You talk to any scorer, it's nice to get on the board, get it out of the way.
Played high and over the glass. Ryan Reeves is trying to lobby for a penalty. But, yes, it is going to happen. Yep. Played over the glass and out of play.
This is reviewable this season, which does make sense. I mean, when you look at officials would always get together and huddle and discuss who saw what, and do you think it was hit something before it went out? Is it a delay a game penalty? And by the time they came up with a decision, you could have looked at it on video.
Yes.
And come up with the correct decision.
So delay of game, Leafs second power play. Riley at the point off a face-off win. Into the corner for Nylander. Nylander circles down low. Back of the net goes Tavares. Tried to center in front for Matthews. It was blocked. Tavares works along the boards and one hands it back to Riley. Riley to the right wing side. Marner couldn't handle the puck cleanly. Able to spin it back and finds Nylander to the point. Back to Nylander. Top of the circles with a shot. Big rebound in front of the net. Matthews scores! 70th goal! Oh, no. First one.
You start adding up the calendar year again, but the quick release and a puck that bounces and finds the stick of Austin Matthews about 10 feet in front of the Ottawa net is just quickly snapped in. John Tavares with a great little backhand pass through his legs back out to the slot as he was just to the right of Sogard. As Tavares gets a rebound through his legs back to Austin Matthews, and Matthews just with a flick of the wrist ties his game at 3.
Can he score 69 or more this season?
I'm going to say, and not that it isn't exciting and not that he doesn't have the ability, I don't think it's nearly as important this year. Remember how Steve Yzerman's offensive numbers dropped? The better the Red Wings got as a team, his numbers went down, but was still considered an elite player. I think Matthews would be the same thing. If he's a 40 to 60 goal guy every year, I think you're going to be thrilled.
Grebenkin around back of the Ottawa goal. The Leafs get it back to the point. Long shot in traffic and a big juicy rebound off Sogard, who's going to play the entire game. And now here are the Sens with Pinto trying to get in front, and it's turned over, and Reeves will skate the center and get a change going as he dumps it into the Ottawa zone. Are we going to hear Alex Nylander from Mike Ross? He is another of the interesting little sidebar stories that is part of Leaf training camp as he comes over after a number of stops and a high draft pick of the Buffalo Sabres years ago. But
yeah, I'm still surprised he didn't stick with Columbus.
Yep.
You would have thought he would have put up some decent numbers there last year under the circumstances.
The nice thing is he's got a spot in Toronto that's pretty much rent-free.
Yes. Well, you would hope.
Marner centers, nice to the net, stopped by Sogard, and he will hold on. Yeah, you'd hope, right? Yeah. Maybe a couple of bucks here and there for groceries, but come on.
Yeah,
Willie just signed that big ticket, so.
But when you hear Alex being interviewed, he says, "You know what? We're best of friends." He said, "We know, when to hang, when to give each other some space."
Do you have that handled with your brother too? Did you know when to give him space, or did you just club him?
Well, I left. Space? When you leave at home at 16,
yeah,
it's a little different.
Yeah.
But usually every argument started with "Mom liked me more."
and who said that?
My other two brothers. They weren't wrong.
No, well, me being the father of 4 boys, trust me, there was plenty to argue about. Okay? But it's the old adage that here's the Leafs in with a shot. It's going to go through the goaltender and in. And the Leafs take the lead. Oh, my.
Pacioretty again. Got one on a mid-air redirection and one that has a little odor on it from an Ottawa standpoint. But the Leafs, who are down 3-1 in this game, have stormed back with 3 here in the third period to take the lead. And for Pacioretty, not a huge celebration. He may not have known that it went in.
Well, it took long enough to go through him.
As you described it. This a bit of a curling rock from well above the top of the crease through Sogard, and then it rolled on in into the back of the net. But I'm sure if you're Max Pacioretty too, you're saying, okay, I've been around long enough that I'm not going to get too hyped up over a couple of preseason goals, but it's great to see him get on the board.
3 goals in 2 minutes and 58 seconds, and then the Senators score. A wrist shot by Sebrango on a turnover in the Toronto end, and they're going in from all over, and this game is tied at 4s.
Sebrango didn't score in Belleville last year. 35 games played. But Snipes won here. And again, Jake McCabe's the closest to the left point. So again, maybe some concern from a Leaf standpoint of defensive zone coverage. And this again, Joe, is a Nylander line that gets caught out on it. So there are going to be some discussions over this as to who's got who, because it's the second time somebody's been wide open.
And this is, again, defensive zone coverage that is a work in progress as to who is responsible to be up high and everything else, and whether it's Willie or whether it is...
That's usually the wingers, right? Having the points.
Yep. But if Willie is relinquishing his center ice duties down low and Domi's supposed to be there, then he's got to be up high, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
So this is, if that's in fact what's going to... Now we've got another fight started here. Nikita Zabrednik is in here against Adam Gaudette. And a couple of right hands. This one a lot more enthusiastic than the first, but the Leaf player getting a couple of uppercuts in at the end of this. So the...
I realize it's an emotional moment, but
waving to the crowd to get up and after it, but
yeah, I don't.
It's preseason,
but you might want to pick your spots a little better. As Gabrinkov gives it the let's hear everybody get up and excited about this. But anyway, we got a 4-4 tie, 13:36 to go.
So Gabrinkin into the penalty box as well, and the Maple Leafs are in a 4-4 tie with lots of scoring coming here in the third period. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on Sportsnet 590, The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
WWE SmackDown is on Sirius XM. Hear it Friday nights at 8 Eastern on NBC Sports Audio Channel 85. Don't miss the superstars in action, like the original Tribal Chief Roman Reigns.
Acknowledge me.
And WWE Undisputed Champion Cody Rhodes.
So, what do you guys want to talk about?
Then Saturday morning at 9 Eastern, discuss it all with Busted Open's Denise Salcedo and WWE Hall of Famer Mark Henry on Sirius XM Fight Nation, Channel 156, and the all-new Sirius XM app.
The Power Play with Steve Koulias.
You either put up or shut up. Marchand does, Doughty does, Stone does. And if you don't have enough of those players, get rid of them, because they'll make you lose. They'll frustrate the fan base. I want people that are with me, rowing in the same direction. And if you can't, get out of town. We'll find someone who can.
The Power Play, weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app.
The UEFA Champions League is back on Sirius XM FC, and this year it's bigger than ever.
Hey Insiders, thank you for hanging out with us tonight during this Toronto Maple Leafs game. Everybody that's new here, please hit that subscribe button to become an insider right now. What are you waiting for? It's hockey season. Make sure that bell is turned on so you don't miss it when we go live for every single Toronto Maple Leafs game of the season. Oh yeah, and we do a lot of other sports action here on TSI. But we're glad you're here. It's hockey season. Let's get back after it in the chat. Let's have some fun. Go Leafs, go! Hit that subscribe button. Don't forget, if you're new, please hit it. Join this crew of insiders here as we push 40,000. See you guys back in the chat. Go Leafs, go!
Off-season was just a couple of days ago when this hockey team had an ownership juggling. $4.7 billion as a shot goes off a skate wide of the Ottawa goal. Could feel Harold Ballard rolling in his grave.
Can you imagine?
Could you imagine? That's exactly right.
I think Harold might have thrown in the Tiger Cats.
Yep.
For $4.7 billion.
Yep. Leafs back in their own zone, brought out now by Nyes.
He probably wouldn't have.
No.
Who are we kidding?
Nyes knocks the stick out of the defenseman's grasp, but the puck is frozen up against the corner boards. And play is still down there until it's finally kicked free off the broken stick, but stolen by the Leafs. Nyes couldn't get it out in front, and it's rolled around into the near corner, and Tavares will get there. Tavares playing it back to the point. Long shot by Ekman Larsson, was blockered away by the Ottawa goalkeeper played around on the boards. McCabe is going to pinch, dropping it back for Pacioretty. Now to Ekman Larsson, closing, shot blocked, grabbed by Tavares. His shot went wide, comes back to the point. Pacioretty with it again. Getting in front of the net. Enough shot by Tavares is into the chest of Mads Søgaard. And the Ottawa goalkeeper will hold on. A 4-4 tie here in the third period with 12:04 to go. There's a lot of scoring here in this period. And Yannick has got a goal and 3 assists.
What about Chris Tannen?
Yeah.
3 assists and did not have a 3-point game last season. Split between the Dallas Stars and Calgary Flames. Armin is mid-season form.
Really?
Yes.
Oh. Centering pass, knocked away. The Leafs come away with it on the far boards. Nylander, though, couldn't handle it. And it's pushed out at center ice and down into the Toronto zone. Back with you as the two teams collide again in Ottawa on Tuesday night. With the big news in Ottawa that a new rink has finally been okey-dokied. Now they just have to make sure that the land they want to put it on is suitable and various other things. But sure, they're thinking 5 years down the road.
Yeah, they're saying it's years as opposed to months, obviously, before they put a shovel into the ground.
Tavares in the Toronto zone. Tanev plays it off the boards to center. Reeves dropping it back for Morgan Riley. The veteran gets it ahead, and Reeves tips it in over the line. Trying to chip it ahead. Reeves couldn't get the puck to follow him, and then it's knocked out at center ice, and the Leafs have to go back into their own end after the loose puck. Round back of the goal for Jacob Quinlan. Leafs can't get it free. It rolls off a skate in front, and they score! Ekman Larsson had to go off this skate, and it lay there all by its little old lonesome, and jumping into the attack was Cole Reinhardt to tuck it home, and the Senators, after relinquishing a 2-goal lead, have restored a 1-goal advantage.
Really sloppy goals to give up. Hey, Joe? Or just sloppy play in front, missed assignments. Leafs try to reverse the puck in behind their own net. It's picked off and eventually bounces to the front of the net, and Ekman Larsson has a go off the heel of his skate and right onto the tape of Reinhardt. Matt Murray had yet to really recover going post to post, and that was a rather simple goal for the Senators to regain the lead.
So a 5-4 Ottawa lead as it deflects down into the Toronto zone. Back to retrieve it is Cade Weber. Had it knocked off his stick. A centering pass. Matthews was there to intercept, and he'll find skating room and start out with it now in his own zone. Matthews ahead on the wing, backhanded in over the line, dropped off. Matthews again. Shot there on the short side and just blocked it away by Søgaard.
There's a little smoke behind that one, wasn't there?
Yeah, he leaned on that, didn't he? Tanev getting it ahead. Played on the backhand by Easton Cowan, but it's going to go into the Toronto bench. And out of play with 9:46 to play in the third period. The Ottawa Senators lead 5-4. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Fall for Subaru by enjoying fall to the fullest. Think scarlet, burgundy, amber, crimson and copper, but never, never blue. Because with Subaru's symmetrical full-time all-wheel drive, fall is for thick, dark mud splats, terracotta mountain roads, radiant sunsets, kaleidoscopic leaf carpets, and the boldest of adventures. Avoid autumn blues and visit your local Subaru dealership to book a test drive today.
What makes a job in the skilled trades at Ontario Power Generation different?
What's up, insiders? How we doing tonight? Oh my God, my camera's got the green screen off. How we doing this evening? 19 in the chat. What's up, 19? Good to see you. Lots of great people here in the chat. Lurker Lieutenant, what's up, Lurker? Good to see you. Mark Daigle, cheers. Are you a grandpa yet, man? Are you a grandpa? Love it, man. Cheers, brother, and great to see you. We got Axe. We got a few trolls in the chat. You know, it's a beautiful preseason Leafs game. Thank you all for being here, everybody. Please hit that like button if you haven't already. We're up to $2 or 212 likes. We've got a $2 super chat in the house as well, and a brand new member. Big shout out to Kilo G for the super chat. I gotta heart that thing as well. Jeff, welcome to Insider Level. And have you joined yet, ladies and gentlemen? Come on, get those emojis in the chat. 99 cents. That's it. Join as an insider. VIP if you really want to support the channel. $4.99. But that's not why we're here right now. We want to talk about the Leafs and this hockey game. We've got the third period, only we got a little bit of time left. Half the period to go. Let's get it done, Leafs. I'm going to put it back to the hockey. Let's get this thing tied up. It's been a hell of a third period. Let's get back to it. Cheers, everybody. Great to see you. Hey, Insiders.
Boards.
Thank you for hanging out with us tonight during this Toronto Maple Leafs game.
I don't know.
I said probably at a coaching symposium hosted by Jim Ralph that was put on by Roger Nielsen.
I won't even say neutral zone yet.
Yeah.
I still say center ice. That's what we grew up with.
Well, and then my line was, well, when they stop making them out of wood, because it's all
boards.
Yeah, they're not boards anymore. It is a wall. But I thought that, when did that start?
A half wall, and then forwards are F1, F3.
Oh, yeah. Here the Leafs in across the line for Tavares, in on the left wing for Cowan. Cowan gets it back to the point, just kept in by Tanev, and just kept in by Riley, who plays it around back of the net. Here's Tavares centering the net. Pacioretty gets it back to the point. Back to the left wing side for Cowan. Point shot coming that's blocked. Cowan trying to recover the puck and send it back in along the boards, and does. Down the wall comes Tanev to keep it in, or the boards. And now along the side ball, it comes out into the slot, and the Senators will be able to get control as both teams are changing. Ottawa trying to make up ground in the same division the Leafs are in, obviously. And now here's the Sens in with a shot. Down, smothering it, is Matt Murray. You have to think that Buffalo and Detroit are going to be better, but are they better enough to catch the likes of Boston and Florida and Tampa and the Maple Leafs?
Yeah, I mean, that's what they're looking to do. It's just like the Leafs are looking to get to that next level, win 2-3, ultimately 4 playoff series. You've got, Senators haven't made it in 7 years. Buffalo's got the longest streak going of missing the postseason.
And Detroit is almost the longest in their history.
Yeah, now Montreal's probably the expectations aren't quite there that this has got to be the turning point season for them. But again, you get off to a decent start. What's really hurt the Ottawa Senators over the years, it's been the first month or two of the season. A lot of times they'll get out of the gate in the first couple of weeks pretty strong, and then they have that horrible stretch. And we know what it's like that, we went through our own 10, 11-year stretch. They say you can't clinch a playoff spot in November, but you can sure lose one.
Yes, you can. Brought in by Halliday. Sens get it into the corner. Domi had it knocked away, and now out come Toronto with McCabe skating at the center. He'll ring the boards with it into the far corner. Chipped in there by Domi. Knocked around back of the net. Gannett sending it back. And up on the left wing now is Halliday, and he'll get it out at center. Liljegren for Toronto. Trying to go D to D there with Cade Weber, but had some difficulties. They'll get it out at center. A bad pass. Comes back into the Toronto zone. Weber gets it ahead. And now Marner in his own zone starts up the left wing. Marner to the line and in. Marner going down the boards and now skates around back of the goal with it and still has it. Circles the net, comes back to the blue line. Left wing pass on the left wing side. Trying to get a shot was Weber. It comes off a skate and is going to come all the way back into the Toronto end. Leafs will go back for it. And Liljegren starts back. A pass ahead. Upended there was Marner, who was tripped. And the Leafs are going to go back to the power play. So a tripping call will send the Leafs to the man advantage with 6:53 to go.
By the way, Cole Reinhardt not related to Sam in Florida. Now, Max and Griffin Reinhardt are related. It's different spelling. We're all Paul Reinhardt's kids are all Northern BC boys, or Northern Vancouver boys. Well, Cole Reinhardt in the lineup for the Ottawa Senators tonight is Calgary born. And as Andrew Holland pointed out, it's spelled differently. As we double check.
Be like Smith
everything
and Brown.
else. Yeah.
Shot deflected wide and now cleared it down the ice. Sends penalty killers getting it into the Leaf end. Riley goes back to recover the puck for Toronto.
One thing I think we can say with some certainty is this will, in fact, be the power play for the Leafs.
On the wing it comes to Tavares. Down into the corner for Matthews. Chipped to the line, and Riley couldn't quite keep it in. It'll come to center ice. Yeah, Nylander, Marner, Tavares, Matthews, Riley. Left wing side, Tavares. Played off on the wing for Nylander. Centering effort, hit a leg. Nylander comes away with the puck back to Morgan Riley in return. Nylander at far half boards, curls. Back it comes to Riley, over for Matthews. Matthews down low, centering pass by Marner. Centered again and rolling puck in front. Clipped over top of the net by Nylander. And cleared now by Ottawa down the ice. Halliday's goal, the only goal that Yannick hasn't had a hand in for Ottawa. So he's certainly making a statement here tonight. Back at the point, Ekman-Larsson for Pacioretty, and the shot smothered by Sogard, chest high, to bring a face-off in the Ottawa zone to the right with 5:28 to go in the third. 35 seconds left in this power play. A lot of the construction that has gone on here, not quite ready yet. All of the area behind the benches on the far side, underneath the platinum seats, being turned into an enormous bar. So all of those little enclaves are gone as the shot goes wide of the net. But they still have some work to do. And I've been here late at night, sometimes after an Argo game and coming through, and they're working at nights. It's amazing when you have to be paid by the job as opposed to the hour that things tend to get done a little quicker. The Leafs keep the puck in the offensive zone. Pacioretty's pass was blocked. He centers again, blocked once more. And out of the penalty box now Batherson, and now the Sens bring it into the Toronto zone, going wide with a shot stopped there by the Maple Leafs' Matt Murray. 4.5 minutes to play in the third. Leafs trailing by a goal. Liljegren backhands it in. Far from having this building sold out, but there are a lot of people here that probably wouldn't get to a Leaf game. Had a youngster that came up with us and did a tour that was pretty excited to be in the building for the first time. So, yeah, pretty exciting time. 4:17 to play here in the third. 5-4 Ottawa. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
You dominated your fantasy football draft by listening to SiriusXM Fantasy Sports Radio.
Just want to say thank you, because ain't nobody going to beat me after this draft.
You set a winning lineup with the expert advice of the best fantasy football analysts.
I don't see any downside to him this year whatsoever.
But instead of tasting victory, you got this.
Every week is the same. I average like 40 points a week.
Don't panic. Find out how to replace your injured and underperforming players.
Be aggressive, especially on a waiver wire.
On SiriusXM 87 and the SiriusXM app.
What's up, guys? All right, here we are. Look at this. Joe Prestera in the chat. What's up, Joe? Great to see you, man. I had a great summer, and it's only getting better because it's fall and it's hockey season. Great to see you, Joe. Everybody else in the chat, Rochelle, thank you for hanging out with us tonight. Love it. Absolutely love it. We got Shane in the chat as well. I don't know, U.S. News something. I don't even know. Mark Daigle, love it. Who else we got? Universe Around Us News. Thanks for hanging out with us. All right, hey, I got to give a big shout out to Jose Duarte. Thank you, Jose, for that huge super chat. The support is absolutely insane. I can't explain to you how much these Super Chats help this channel and this community grow. Thank you so much. Go Leafs, go. Let's finish strong. A little quick note, a tidbit of information for everybody. I just want to bring everybody back to Game 1 of the preseason last year. RyeGuy17 had just subscribed. Thank you. Game 1 of the preseason last year, we did 1,500 views. We are just about to pass 10,000 views tonight. So thank you, thank you, thank you. We're doing big things in this community. Continues to grow, and we're helping Sick Kids Hospital in Toronto as well. Let's get back to the third period. Let's go. Go Leafs, go. Finish strong, boys. Let's go. Finish it up. Win. Get it done in Game 1. Let's go.
And traded to the Ottawa Senators for Igor Sokolov. He's had 4 goals and 2 assists in those 22 games. He's had a heck of a game here tonight. As it's cleared down into the Toronto zone and an icing call coming.
Now, having said that, and it's almost like a rite of passage every training camp, every preseason game we bring it up.
Who was the player from St. Louis?
The first year I haven't had to look it up. Justin Papineau had a 5-goal game with the St. Louis Blues in a preseason game.
How'd that work out for him?
Well, we got to keep looking it up every year. So I think if it worked out a little better, it would be a better-known story, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Went on to become a 70-goal scorer in the league, and unfortunately, no. Leafs back in their own zone. Played ahead for Marner. Marner stops up on the near half wall, gets it into the slot. Tanev couldn't shoot it, got it down low, and a wrist shot taken there by Nyes went wide of the net. Leafs come back to center ice. A chip by Marner is intercepted, brought on by Pinto. Shane Pinto playing around back of the Toronto net. Leafs trying to force overtime here in Game 1 of the preseason. Down 5-4. Matthews ties his man up. And Tanev will go back into his own zone. Chris Tanev through center. Tried to flip it in, didn't get much on it, and Sens bring it right back in over the line with Goudet trying to drive the net, and he hit the side of the goal. Puck at the side of the net, Goudet back of the net, centers, it comes back to the point. Kept in by Clevin, got it back in the net, Goudet gets it around on the boards now for Addison, he'll send it back from whence it came, and Nylander finally cuts off the cycle and just launches it high to center ice where Pacioretty couldn't knock it down. Played back into the Toronto end and a whistle here. Going to bring the puck back out at center, I believe.
Now, you were saying earlier that there's a gentleman here, young guy that had never been to a Leaf game before, so it's a big deal with him. And talking to somebody, and I know you're exactly the same as I am. Both Northern Ontario boys, we grew up idolizing the National Hockey League. Maybe this wasn't our first choice as to how we'd get here, but I don't think it's ever been lost on either one of us how fortunate we are to be able to.
Oh, absolutely.
To be a part of this.
Yep. Long pass goes well wide, and an icing call here against Toronto.
And I've told you this, that one of my most prized possession, object that I own is an old radio that my grandfather used to hook up the car battery to because he didn't have electricity to listen to Foster Hewitt do Leaf game.
How good is that?
So to have that,
it's handed from generation.
Yeah,
right? Yeah, absolutely. No, I can vividly remember the first time I set foot inside Maple Leaf Gardens.
Yes.
And we had a black and white TV, and all I could remember, boy, this is colorful. Puck down in the Ottawa zone.
I thought the Gardens looked plastic. Everything looked plastic, and it was shinier than I thought it would be.
Yarncrook got filled in, and no penalty. Fans are a little upset with that. We'll keep an eye on Matt Murray. And there he goes to the bench, and an extra attacker coming on for the Maple Leafs. But the Senators come away with the loose puck. Noah Gregor getting it ahead, but it's turned over, and Tavares works into the corner, got it back to Marner, and his slap shot is into the chest of Sogard. And a face-off will come, and we'll see if Craig Berube will make his first timeout gesture, and he will as the Leafs will discuss what they want to do with this face-off.
Boy, Senators may have gotten away with a high stick. Kelly Yarncroc. It might have been Mike Amadio that got his stick up on the Leaf forward. Nobody sees it. So the Leafs do not get the extra man on the ice. 32-29 the shots favoring the Senators. The off-ice officials did go back and change it. We had one shot on goal in the first period. They changed it to 2.
Oh, we're going to go through that this year.
Oh, yes.
Oh, good.
Yeah, what do we got here? Yeah, 2 shots. Those shots on goal were 15-2 after the first period. So the Leafs have been able to, obviously the second half of this game have been better, but
it was interesting going to see the first day of workouts under Craig Berube. And so much of the first day was spent on battle drills in closed areas, working 1-on-1, then 2-on-2, and just battling for loose pucks, as opposed to, remember the old days where you just skated until you could not breathe.
Yeah.
But that aspect obviously comes into it later.
All the players, to a man, talked about how tough training camp was.
Draw one by the Leafs. Matthews to the right wing side. 6 attackers for Toronto. Matthews around back of the net. Dishes it off in the corner. Marner gives it back to him. Matthews centering pass at one time. Rebound into the air. Sogard's quick hand. Able to glove that with 1:27 left to go. Max Pacioretty out there.
With the big boys.
Yep. As the extra man on the extra attacker for the Leafs power play unit. Tavares lost the draw. It rolled in on Sogard. Cleared around the boards, but not out. Then a long shot. Sogard got a piece of that. Played to the line and out at center ice, and Riley will have to hustle to get it back at center. Matthews up on the left wing for Nylander. Willie works in on the left wing and goes around back of the net, reverses the puck, and Marner has it. Back to the point, it goes to Riley. Riley far side, Nylander into the corner for Matthews. Back to Nylander. Nylander near side for Riley with less than a minute to go in the period. Marner in the corner. Bank pass. Matthews back of the net. Saucered back to Marner. Down low. Centering pass. That was stopped as Tavares couldn't jam it home. Matthews with it again. To the point. Another shot. Stopped by Sogard. Pacioretty trying to dig for a rebound. None forthcoming. Face off in the Ottawa zone.
Now, preseason or not, you want to get your reps in, and even if that includes a hurry-up offense late in the game. And the Leafs have just completely controlled this, haven't they? They've had their opportunities. Matthews from behind the net finally gets to the point, but Sogard is able to see it, stop it, then cover it up.
Sens win the face-off and are able to clear it into the Toronto end. Nylander gets back. Half minute to go in the third period. Nylander sifting to the line and in, makes a move to get it on the left wing to Pacioretty. Pacioretty in front of the net. Nylander coming out in front of the goal. They score! 20.7 seconds left. And those in attendance look like they're going to get overtime.
Now it's Willie Nylander that takes the puck from the goal line to the right of the Ottawa goaltender Sogard. The right-handed shot on his forehand. Tries to get around the left pad, is initially stopped. But the rebound comes right back onto his stick, and Nylander is able to flip it up over the left pad of the Ottawa goaltender. And with 21.9 seconds to go, tie this at 5.
1938, the time of the tying goal. Domi around back of the net. You wouldn't think they could get the winner here in the next 9 seconds.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Yarncroc sends it towards the goal. Knocked away. Backhanded high to center ice. And overtime.
Now, one of the great things about social media.
Yeah.
Saw something pop up on Instagram. The very first shootout in the National Hockey League. between the Ottawa Senators and the Toronto Maple Leafs. Eddie Belfour against Dominic Hasek. You know who the first two Leafs were the Leafs used in a shootout?
Jason Allison, because it took a week.
Yeah, he just finished shooting last month. Eric Lindros was the other. The Leafs lost it, though, 2-0.
All right, we'll step aside. 5-5 tie, going to overtime. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on Sportsnet 590, The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
1877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1877 Cars for Kids.
The Cars for Kids commercial. We're going to switch it up. We're heading back to overtime. I love it. This is funny. We switched the commercials in Jay's season. It was the two men in a truck, Crown Rust Control. Here we are pulling it into the hockey commercials again. Great to see everybody here in the chat, chatting it up. Matt, thanks for hanging out with us tonight. Love it. Mark Duffney, cheers, man. Get that wave going, Mark. Love it. Great to see Mark Daigle as well tonight, man. So glad to have you back here. And Lisa, let's go. We're heading to overtime. Fire up that chat, Lisa, like you do every single night. I love it. Let's keep it going. Big shout out to the Super Chat Kilo G tonight as well. Jose Duarte, the support is hugely, hugely appreciated here on the channel. Thank you all so much. Patches trying to make the team, and he's doing a damn good job of it. Let's get back to the hockey. Overtime it is. I got to put this McDonald's cup away. Cheers, everybody. Go Leafs, go.
Be the best! At Pizzaville, we want to make the best pizza. Stone-baked, the traditional Italian way.
Pizzaville Stone-Baked Pizza. Fiercely Canadian. Authentically Italian.
What makes a job in the skilled trades at Ontario Power Generation different? For starters, we're not just welders, electricians, millwrights, and boilermakers. We are sustainable future builders. And every day, we're building, expanding, and innovating the equipment and technology that keeps Ontario powered with clean, reliable energy. Are you ready to start a career that has the power to electrify life on and off the job? Apply now at opg.com/jobs.
We're your home of the Toronto Maple Leafs. Hear the action on Sportsnet 590 The Fan, streaming on the Sportsnet app and at sportsnet.ca/590. Overtime underway as Matthews gets a backhand away and it just went wide. Matthews now bringing the puck back out into neutral ice will allow teammates to change. Leafs going from left to right on your radio dial here, 3-on-3. On the left wing for Domi. Max Domi walks the line. Works into the slot area. Still with it. Back to the blue line for McCabe. Return to Domi. Domi with Nylander out there. Domi still with it. Drops for Nylander. Nylander with a move. Going to the net with a backhand. Set it over top of the goal. Domi for McCabe. McCabe walks in. Doesn't shoot it. McCabe holds. Works back towards the blue line. Gives to Domi. Domi saucers it back for Willie. Nylander circles with it. Still with it. Trying to drive. Then circles back. Leafs are getting a change going here. Nylander still with the puck. Looking to go to the front of the net was Ekman Larsson. Now given back. And Ekman Larsson will string it out. And is going to bring it back out into the center ice area for Max Pacioretty. Back to Ekman Larsson. Larsson starts back up ice. Sens have not had possession of the puck since the overtime started. Here's Pacioretty. Open ice on the right side and off the shoulder of Sogard. And now the Ottawa Senators break up ice. Brought in over the line by Amadio. He'll drop it back. Trying to work in front. Halliday. Wilson in front of the net. Matthews stole it. Stolen back. Shot stopped by goaltender Murray. Here's Matthews. Little move to gain the zone. Works around back of the net. Tried to center. Hit a skate. Sends with it again in their own end. 2:35 left in overtime. Brought out at center ice by Ottawa. Working in. Nice move there. Yakmanchuk in. A goalie scores! Carter Yakmanchuk is going to end this game at overtime.
And this is a skilled play that ends it. 30 goals scored with Calgary of the Western Hockey League. Fake shot, dances around one man, walks in on Matt Murray. Fakes the shot, right-handed shot, and then tucks it. I think this goes under the right pad of Murray. And that was after the Leafs had all the control and all the opportunities early on in overtime, but the Senators, who blew a 3-1 lead from the second period into the third, and then blew a 1-goal lead when Nylander scored, and the goalie on the bench to tie it to send it to overtime, but the Senators will walk out of here with 2 points here in the preseason.
And the Molson 3 stars. Molson, everyone in.
All right, well, I think we're going to stick with the point getters.
All right.
In this game. So a couple of 4-point nights. Jan Jenik has one of them. We'll give star number 1 to him. Cole Reinhardt, 2 goals, 2 assists, 4 points on the night. Second star in the Molson 3 stars. And Max Pacioretty, in a Leaf debut, scores a couple of goals. Let's throw the third star towards him.
All right. These two teams meet in Ottawa on Tuesday night. We'll have that action for you beginning at 7 o'clock. And so we'll ship it off. Ailish Forfire and Gord Stellick with the postgame show as Game 1 of 6 preseason tilts goes 6-5 in favor of the Ottawa Senators. You've been listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
You've been listening to Molson Leafs Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Leafs Radio Network. There's a Molson with your name on it.
Try on mom jeans. 80s and 90s pop, so soft and nostalgic. It'll have you decorating your kitchen.
What's up, insiders? All right, tough loss there at the end in overtime for our buds. But hey, you know what? It's the preseason. It doesn't matter. Who cares? We move on Tuesday night. We go to Ottawa. We get the W, right? That's how we roll. Leafs, it's fine. No big deal. Love it. We had a great time tonight. Mark Taylor, what's up, Mark? Good to see you. Lots of Marks in the chat. Mark Duffney, Mark Daigle, Mark Taylor. Cheers, everybody. Thank you guys for hanging out. There's Mark LaRose as well. We'll see you Tuesday. Cheers, Mark LaRose. And Victor as well. I'm liking Patches. Me too. He's looking good. Looking good. We'll see how he holds up. Hopefully he gets a night off here in the preseason. I don't want to put too much on him right now. Big night tonight from Patches. Absolutely love to see it. VIP members, look out for your nice daily recap. We're going to do the highlight recap for members only tomorrow. Thank you for being members. The support is huge. Now, we'll let the post game run as always. That's what we do here on TSI. We'll let it go as long as the feed leaves it on. Junior, cheers, my man. Good to see you. Jose, have a good night. You too, Jose. Thank you again. That super chat is insane. The support, everybody, is insane. Thank you all. And this is crazy. Like I was saying with the in the beginning of the preseason last year, we're 1,500 views. Tonight, we're over 10,000 views already. Started out with 3,700 subscribers last October, and we're up to 38,000. Almost 500. We should be at 500 by the time we get there. So if you haven't subscribed, please do. And with that, I'll let the post game run. Cheers, everybody. Thank you for hanging out with us. Have a great evening. We'll see you guys on Tuesday, or come back on Monday night to hang out with us for the Bills game. Monday Night Football against the Jacksonville Jaguars. We did a great night. Last game out on Thursday Night Football. Sarah, thanks for coming down. Tell the people what to do.
Like and subscribe and share this video with other people so that they can make it.
Yes.
We're on our way to 40,000. We're only 2,000 away. Not even.
Less than 2,000.
Yeah.
Yes.
1,000 and a half.
Rod Bottomley, cheers, Rod. Thank you, sir, for your support and being here in the chat. Yeah, Big J, you gotta. He's a totally different bird, man. You just gotta let Big J roll and have a little bit of fun. Anyways, there you go. Mark LaRose says, I'll look for the highlights. Mark, you got to join as a VIP member. I'll do a video tomorrow with the highlights behind me. I'll take my little webcam down to the bottom corner, and I will chat it up about the Leafs. I might actually make it up for all the members, the insider members as well as the VIP members. So thanks again for the super chats tonight, Jose and Kilo G, as well as the new member, Jeff. And and Lisa, Steph, Roboto, Rod, all of the mods. Great work tonight, and great to see everybody as well in the chat. Yeah. Joe Perstera, great to see you. We do it again on Tuesday night. Don't be a stranger. Tomorrow, we've got Blue Jays baseball, I believe, or are they off tomorrow? I believe we have Blue Jays baseball as well as NFL Monday Night Football with the Bills. Let's get to the postgame. Cheers, everybody. Leafs lose it in overtime, but hey, it's the preseason. Who cares? We move forward. Go Leafs, go. Cheers, insiders. Have a great evening. Yeah.
So me and Tom found out what our Halloween costumes are going to be.
Sloppy, like a lot of exhibition games. We'll break that down more, but just at the end, I really like Jake McCabe, okay? I've liked the trade. I've liked the addition. I know he's looking at a new contract. He got walked, the turnstile, deked out of his jockstrap, all of the above, like that. So, so it's just like what the heck happened there? And the game ended, and it ends quickly in overtime, and we have an Ottawa Senators win. But we had a much better game than we anticipated in the last 20 minutes, especially.
Yeah, when the Leafs made that push, they got a couple goals, and honestly, it all started from Max Pacioretty. And it's crazy to say, Max Pacioretty 2 goals tonight. He had a great stat line. He's just like a lot of question marks around his health, but he came out tonight. He's got 2 goals, an assist, 3 hits, 6 shots on goal. Hasn't had a 3-point game since December 2021. So take it as you might. It is still preseason, but he looked pretty good. He was the one that sparked this comeback that the Leafs needed. They got a lot of goals in the third. Willie with that one with 20 seconds left to really push it to overtime. But yeah, it's a sour end to what was a fun, at least 30 minutes there at the end of the game. And I love 3-on-3 hockey. We talked about this while we were watching. But when you make a mistake like that where you just don't function,
yeah,
you are the one that is easily unfortunate to be circled for tonight. But we'll have lots to go through. We might hear from head coach Craig Berube in a second as well. So we're going to take a quick break. Lots more to come on our post-game show. You're listening to Molson Leafs Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
From the biggest stadiums to the coziest holes in the wall. From house parties to porch hangs to pride celebrations.
What's up, hockey fans? Thanks for hanging out with us tonight for this Leafs game. We're doing something special here on Toronto Sports Insider, this amazing community that we've grown here. Thank you all for being a part of it. We're looking for a sponsor. Do you know any businesses, small businesses, bigger businesses, know anybody that works for some of those companies that might be interested in sponsoring and reaching 20,000 plus Leafs fans a day? Please shoot us an email at torontosportsinsider@gmail.com, and let's see if we can't find a partner to do big things this Leafs season and help out this channel and this community grow, as well as a small portion to Sick Kids Hospital. So that's a requirement as well for any potential sponsors. Now, let's get back to the hockey. Thank you all again. We'll see you in a little bit. Go Leafs, go.
Tomorrow.
It's fall. In love with Ontario time. Fall for the brightest of seasons. Fall into the leaves. To the sound of a waterfall. Fall for a new hiking trail. A harvest. A wine tasting. Fall asleep in a whole new place. And rise to the perfect crisp day. And remember, fall is short. Plan yours now at destinationontario.com.
We're your home of the Toronto Maple Leafs. Hear the action on Sportsnet 590 The Fan, streaming on the Sportsnet app and at sportsnet.ca/590.
Welcome back to Molson Leafs Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network. It's Taylor Schwarber and Gord Stellick for your post-game show tonight. We were just talking off the air. You used to do this for like an hour and a half, 2 hours. I don't know how much content you could get from a preseason game, but the Leafs gave you 5 goals. They gave you a couple of new looks, and we don't have to go for 2 hours, just half an hour.
No, we had a former program director who believed he wanted to go along longer than the rival station, whatever it may be. Anyway, I'm glad
so the sun is rising.
Yes, I'm glad those days are over, and I'm also glad that hopefully we're going to hear from Craig Berube, his first game behind the bench, and he's going to be a lot more. I know it's exhibition, but him and the assistants like Mark Savard used to be do the job we did up here. You want a better performance than what they had after 20 minutes, especially, and at the end pull the goaltender and tie it up. Max Pacioretty was that extra player that was out there instead of the goaltender. So now there's some more positives that you can talk about, right? Because really, after 20 minutes, in a lot of ways, after 40 minutes, we kind of said you'd have to burn the tape. There there's nothing to see here.
You were kind of like an oracle predicting Max Pacioretty before this game. You're like, you know what, this is my guy. I want to watch him. He's got a big opportunity, and I think he was one of our 3 stars at least here at the arena, and definitely deservedly so. So, like, what does he need to do? I don't know if he gets to play 4 of the 6 games, 3 of the 6 games. Tonight is pretty hard to top. You're on the score sheet twice. You're clearly an impact player. You got some power play time. I mean, just be consistent and healthy, I guess.
Well, yeah, we know the health part. And, of course, he won a Stanley Cup with Vegas, a real good team. Went to Carolina, real good team, got hurt. Went to Washington. Didn't have a strong center. They lost Backstrom. They lost Kuznetsov. And that was one thing last year in his defense that I thought, they had nobody up the middle. Here you got everybody up the middle. So, basically, he can play with talented guys. And that's the big thing. He's used to playing with talented guys. That not everybody can. The other thing I really like, I like him sticking his nose into things. He had a lot of hits. He dug the puck out. A little bit what John Tavares does quite well as far as that part of the game that isn't the glamour part. I thought Pacioretty did a really good job of that tonight.
Okay, we're going to wait to hear from Craig Berube, but I'm going to keep pounding you with questions here. The captaincy, this is a big one. First game we see Austin Matthews with the C, and obviously he gets on the scoreboard. How much does this matter for the dynamic of preseason, regular season? Is it just, a letter on a jersey, or do you believe that this means something more to the Leafs getting over the hump, getting to a Stanley Cup?
Yeah, his first arguments didn't go too well, right? The ref missed the high stick, whatever, but it's, Austin's in there chatting, and it was the one referee, like he was talking to him like he was his son or something.
Yeah, buddies.
Yeah, so... when it happened, Ailish, I thought they were going to wait and let John Tavares, finish wearing with his contract wearing the C. But whether they were proactive, which I give them credit, John Tavares handled this well, because that could have been a little. But you know what? Who cares? If you didn't handle it well, you want to make the move. You got to make the move. Okay? There's too much time not winning in playoffs. So I think it's every little thing that can make a difference. And I'm not saying Austin being captain last year meant that would have beat the Boston Bruins, but they're saying it's really your team. It's an intangible there. You've been part of the leadership group. Now you're the guy. Connor McDavid is the guy. Sidney Crosby is the guy. And now you are that for the Toronto Maple Leafs. You signed the contract. So I think it's another little spice there in a positive way.
Yeah, and I think on the opposite side, too, with John Tavares, not that playing without a C is going to make him feel freer and like a different guy, but I've been hearing things from training camp that he's just got a different energy about him. He really wants to prove it. He wants to come back in the best shape of his life and be the most competitive, and maybe it's just it's a lesser of a job for him from C to A. But I think there can be a positive on both sides for the players. Like, you're stripped of the C. I hate using that word. People are using it. Let's say you're just giving it away. Can there be something positive for John Tavares from all this?
Yeah, he already did that, the way he handled it. And also, he's got a contract here, too. And, of course, he's not talking about hitting the big enchilada. He wants to stay here.
Maybe the Sidney Crosby contract deals.
Yes. And so, so I think that's another positive. And I don't know why he was named captain, okay? I loved when he came here. Don't get me wrong. I loved when he came here. And a year later, I don't know if it was promised or whatever it may be, but I actually liked Morgan Riley as the captain back then or whatever.
He's certainly an emotional leader for sure.
Yeah. So, anyway, they did it. I don't think it was the right move to make then. The guy's been an honorable guy. He's an excellent team player. He tries to be an excellent leader. I like having a little more personality, a little more pizzazz like Austin Matthews does.
Yeah, okay. We're seeing Willie on the screen. It makes me think about Willie playing center. So, I don't know. This happened last year for 2 games with Sheldon Keefe. We heard from William Nylander during the preseason camp here, and he's like, I don't know why I didn't play more. You got to ask my coach. It was kind of funny. But he played center today. How do we know when it's working for Willie? Is it just like him getting the puck more and more touches, carrying the puck up the center of the ice? Like, when do we know that Willie as a center was the right call?
Well, I think you got to give it a real try. Like, you got to give it a real try. And you saw it tonight about what he brings, the speed, the skill in that. Except you saw it for 1 minute at the start of the game, and then you saw it the last 10 minutes of the third period. We didn't see a lot of him tonight. He was one of those guys that was really just, they never got going. But he brings a different dynamic. And you want strength up the middle, always have, still do. And also you want speed and skill up the middle as well. It's a very fast game. He adds that dimension compared to John Tavares.
What about the conversations we've been hearing about, like, why not try Mitch Marner at center? That, to me, we haven't seen it ever. We almost had Mitch Marner playing D last year, which was crazy. But people are like, well, why not give Marner an opportunity at center? I don't see that one working like I see maybe Willie working. Maybe it's the size. Maybe it's just like the physicality that you kind of need to have if you're in the corners. But Marner playing center, I think, would be like a panic button move.
Oh, man. He was a first-team All-Star winger 2 years in a row.
Yeah, don't mess it.
Yeah, and he's really got a knack that way. Like a lot of them, even tonight we're talking a couple times. Well, the 3-on-3, I thought he should have driven the net there. He had, more and more.
He wants to pass. And
he's a little bit too unselfish at times. If there's
he's going to be selfish this year. Contract year. We saw how that worked for Willie, which, he played really well and got a lot of money. But Marner, different guy, different cat. Like, he's got a different pulse on what social media is saying or not saying about him. It obviously weighs on him, even though he says he doesn't watch or read. Oh. Which, when you say that, you are watching or reading. Anyway, playing in a contract year, what does Mitch Marner need to do? Do you think that this gets done mid-year? Do you think it's now like radio silence until the end?
I love the fact that back in my day it was, I never read the papers. Well, of course you do, because you're reacting to it.
That's true.
So somebody told you. My grandmother's
They
neighbor
had physical
told me.
papers back then, eh?
Yeah, they did. They were tapped in granite stones and that. But anyway, it's just but the point is, when they say that, it's always the biggest disclaimer they are. I have no idea why the, I would say obsession, but why he is so affected by social media compared to any other player. It's a great tool we have nowadays. It's the lowest common denominator. The scum of the earth can get their message out there, and if you choose, and if they get a reaction, they are loving it. So I think what's different now that Austin Matthews is signed, that would have been a distraction if he was not signed. People want a Mitch Marner signed. But there's an understanding he could possibly go at the end of the year. Where 5 years ago, even though he was a restricted free agent, it was, you got to get Mitch signed. You got to get Mitchie signed. So there's a bit of awareness now how the business goes. If he were to go, it frees up a whack of cap room. You still want the player. I still want the player as well. And it's only as much of a distraction as they choose to make it a distraction. We can all we want, but as far as inside the dressing room, with Marner, with anybody else, then it could become a problem.
And everything we hear, specifically over the last couple of weeks, because it's been a bit of a Mitch Marner media tour, is that the team loves him, the players love him, and we had, I said I was going to play this or read this to our listeners during one of our intermissions, but Elliot Friedman obviously sat down with Mitch Marner during our first period intermission on the television side. I'm sure we'll be posting that somewhere, but he asked Mitch Marner, like, what would you want to say to Leafs Nation? And Marner said the following, quote, just thank you. I think at some point people probably thought drafting me was a bit of a reach with my size and all that, and not knowing anyone's early future with any team. Looking back, it's still funny. My wife and I always talk about how crazy it is that we're heading into our 9th year in Toronto. Every year brings a new challenge and a new blessing, and I'm fortunate for it all. The love you get outside the rink around the community is one of a kind. I get to see it firsthand at my charity events and even when I'm walking around the city. I'm very grateful and fortunate to be a Maple Leaf. End quote. So he's saying he loves Toronto. He's saying that, he feels the love and support even when he hears the negativity. So why isn't there a contract already? Do you think they're just far apart on numbers? He wants to wait it out and see how this season goes and what he could get on the free agency market? Because if you say one thing, you got to walk the walk, you got to talk the talk.
Well, the other one about the negativity, there was negativity, playoff disappointment after playoff disappointment that the whole team had to shoulder. And it wasn't as personal against Mitch, but anyway, it's how you take it, right? It seems how he took it there. So it's last year they didn't sign. Willie Nylander got months in advance, but they went into the year without a contract for him, and I just think it's. If nothing happens this year, like he's kind of like Kawhi Leonard now this year.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Kawhi Leonard in that I'm not saying he's going to leave, but they have to do something. Something has to happen.
Well, if they won a championship and Mitch Marner walked, I think Toronto would be happy.
Oh, yeah. But if
hang the banner and,
and if they won a championship, the odds are better Mitch Marner stays.
That's true.
So I think it's the kind of thing that, they said, okay, they doubled down again with William Nylander about, and John Tavares will cease to be in that category. It won't be the top 4. It'll be the top 3 now that they have such a disproportionate amount of their payroll on. And I think they're taking a little breath with Mitch about it because he's going to want, top dollar, and that's going to just, again, triple down upon doubling down about that kind of strategy, which so far is flawed as far as having playoff success.
All right, we'll take one more quick break. We'll keep you on unless we get a chance to hear from Craig Berube. So we'll take a quick break. We'll be back with more on Molson Leafs hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
The UEFA Champions League is back on Sirius XM FC, and this year it's bigger than ever.
Absolutely ridiculous from Real Madrid. Merseyside magic from Mo Salah.
Now with more matches featuring soccer's most iconic clubs as they battle it out for European supremacy.
What a start for Inter! Haaland scores the hat-trick!
From the league phase to the final, the Champions League is on Sirius XM FC 157 and the all-new Sirius XM app.
The Power Play with Steve Koulias.
You either put up or shut up. Marchand does, Doughty does, Stone does. And if you don't have enough of those players, get rid of them, because they'll make you lose. They'll frustrate the fan base. I want people that are with me, rowing in the same direction. And if you can't, get out of town. We'll find someone who can.
The Power Play. Weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app.
The UEFA Champions League is back on Sirius XM FC, and this year it's bigger than ever.
Absolutely ridiculous from Real Madrid. Merseyside magic from Mo Salah.
Now with more matches featuring soccer's most iconic clubs as they battle it out for European supremacy.
What a start for Inter! Haaland scores the hat-trick!
From the league phase to the final, the Champions League is on Sirius XM FC 157 and the all-new Sirius XM app.
Join me, Gord Stellick, and Scott Laughlin as we recap the night that was on NHL Morning Skate, weekday mornings at 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91.
The biggest names in the game.
Trying to get behind, wrist the line, and walks in, put it between his legs, shoots it, score!
NHL play-by-play on Sirius XM. Hockey lives here.
Suzuki sweeps it. There's a chance. Rebound, Caulfield shoots and scores.
NHL play-by-play on.
Hey, Insiders! Thank you for hanging out with us tonight during this Toronto Maple Leafs game. Everybody that's new here, please hit that subscribe button and become an Insider right now. What are you waiting for? It's hockey season. Make sure that bell is turned on so you don't miss it when we go live for every single Toronto Maple Leafs game of the season. Oh yeah, and we do a lot of other sports action here on TSI. But we're glad you're here. It's hockey season. Let's get back after it in the chat. Let's have some fun. Go Leafs, go! Hit that subscribe button. Don't forget, if you're new, please hit it. Join this crew of Insiders here as we push 40,000. See you guys back in the chat. Go Leafs, go!
Shows because Justin is golfing in Ireland.
Nice.
So it's a nice life.
I'd rather be here with you.
Yes, I think so too. You know, Ireland, golf, like we just got to see a 6-5 barn burner at Scotiabank Arena.
NHL exhibition hockey compared
There's
to golfing
nothing
in
better.
Ireland. Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
so the Sens take this one 6-5 if you missed our earlier recap. Leafs did push it to OT, and unfortunately, like the OT goal, like I thought the Leafs had the momentum obviously going into it. They get the goal with 20 seconds left in the third, and Willie, everyone's, okay, this is happening. I really thought that they would pull it off, but it's a sloppy goal, and unfortunately Jake McCabe kind of just got danced and the game ends, but we got to see both goaltenders. I think that's probably a pretty standard procedure now for the rest of this preseason camp here to see between Wall, Stolars, Murray, maybe even the other guys that they signed on PTOs, but I thought that they both played pretty well.
Yeah, especially Joe Wall. I thought they both did. That was the one positive. Their penalty killing was a positive as well. And again, to break down the 3-on-3, but we're saying that the Leafs took the offensive zone, and the Ottawa original 3 players were there, and they were gassed.
For like 2 minutes.
And the Leafs had made 3 or 4 changes. And, okay.
All right, we're going to hear from Craig Berube right now. Thanks.
In the first period, we come out and we're just slow and didn't move the puck quick enough. That's why we ended up 2 shots on net in the first period. Didn't want to shoot a lot of times, too cute at times. Got better at times, but overall, there's things, it's training camp. We got to work on things. We got to clean things up. Got to clean up our puck play. Got to clean up our, directness on how we want to play.
What do you think of Pacioretty? He was saying he was pretty nervous to start.
I thought he had a pretty solid game. I know he scored 2 goals, but he was strong out there. I thought he was physical, strong on pucks, did a lot of good things.
Penalty kill, you rotated guys. You had Matthew.
Trying to find some penalty killers of what we're going to use and how we're going to use them. It's preseason, so it's a work in progress, and we're, trying people out.
The 3-goal rally there give you a little taste of what this team can do.
Well, yeah, they got, I've seen lots of things, what they can do right from the get-go with their abilities and their skill. But, in saying that, I thought, a lot of times we had the puck in the offensive zone and we ended up trying to force things too much instead of just being direct and give it to the open guy, maybe the D, shoot it. Third period was our best period, obviously. We had 24 shots. We need more of that all game, 60 minutes. Yeah.
What was the message to Gravenka as he got back from the bench?
No, I just said great job. He's a young kid. I think he's shown us a lot in camp here with his, strength, size, ability, and he's trying to impress.
What do you make of Max Pacioretty's game today?
Again, I thought he was pretty solid. I know he scored 2 goals, but overall, he was noticeable to me. Again, he was strong on pucks, physical. There's obviously things that he can clean up like everybody. So we got a lot of work. To do.
Sorry about that.
Jeff? Good.
Did you always plan to move Cowan up, or was that a reflection of how he was?
Yeah, I wanted to give him some opportunity with different players. That was in my head before the game, so that's what I did.
Thank you, Coach. Thank you.
All right, we're back. That was head coach Craig Berube's first preseason post-game press conference. He is short and sweet.
Yeah. He's probably wondering, does everyone ask questions twice, like about how was Max Pacioretty?
I thought maybe we get a third one, but there was maybe the reporter, he scored 2 goals. Let's ask him twice about Max Pacioretty. Anyway, we laughed because he's like, first period, only 1 shot on net. We both signaled, or he said 2 shots on net. We both signaled just 1 shot on net, but apparently they gave the Leafs 2 shots. So
I thought he was an easy marker, But the other part, Ailish, as time goes on, and you saw this with Mike Babcock and Sheldon Keefe, that I'd like at some point to get a little bit more, but this game's where you pick them. This is the meat. This is the game. Quick, exhibition, whatever. But every now and then, throw us a bone. And Craig Berube's capable of doing just something a little bit more insight, what have you. But this one, like I said, sloppy, entertaining the way it finished for fans, disappointing the way it finished. Ultimately, as far as the last goal went.
It's interesting. I will be curious to see how Craig Berube uses the media, as you mentioned, because Sheldon Keefe, a few times we've heard him lean into, we need more from our main players, and then the next day come back and apologize for being offside. And I think it'll be interesting to see how Craig Berube, who seems to be a bit of a tough marker, maybe a better way to say it, how he'll use the voice of the media. He doesn't really spend too much time there, like breaking down the plays and how each person performed. But you're right, tonight isn't the night to be throwing things around. I thought it was interesting that he mentioned he wanted to give Cowan more of an opportunity. There was a lot of excitement around some of these young guys, but for me it was Gravenka. Like, I thought that guy played amazing from start to finish. He had the fight. He was going up to the crowd with the arms up. Like, that's the energy you want to see out of a young kid. Cowan got an opportunity to play up the lineup, but I just think there's not so much that he should be saying tonight that's going to change tomorrow. There's going to be probably a completely different roster the next time the Leafs hit the ice.
But you mentioned as far as the young player went, and I mentioned Pacioretty, the older player, before the game, and both of them made an impact. The other thing with, I think the thing that's changed, and maybe part of it's about Mitch Marner and his contract going on, is that, there was a sense to handle them with kid gloves, especially Mitch.
Definitely.
And I found sometimes Sheldon Keefe was told to walk things back. Okay,
it definitely felt that way.
Yeah, and I think organization, they've said, okay, we got to stop doing that. We got, and that's where kind of now it'll be. I don't want to call it tough love, but just this is the way it is, and that. And I think if I had to, again, I kept thinking there never was that kind of accountability about the Columbus loss or the Montreal loss or something. Not that you had to beat yourself up and talk about it forever, but it was just a sense of, okay, well, no, you didn't learn. You didn't learn. And you didn't learn last year in overtime, Game 7, that they wanted it more on that shift. And that's the kind of thing. So anyway, those are the types of things nowadays that used to be acceptable because it's fun, they're entertaining, they're talented, they're skilled. We're making the playoffs after never making the playoffs for 10 years, and the clock has struck 12.
I'll leave one more positive note from me that I liked that Craig Berube brought up, and it was about that 3-goal rally, and he mentioned it. I've seen a lot of things that they can do, but they were trying to force things. Maybe we can have more opportunity where just have the D shoot it or get it through into the hard areas of the ice. But saying that he needed more of those 20 minutes that we saw in the third period is exactly the messaging that I would give. The first two, kind of not the greatest, but they showed what the Maple Leafs have: skill, speed, ability to be clutch with 20 seconds left in the game to tie it up, to come back from being under the deficit. That's the Maple Leafs we know. That's the Maple Leafs we'll probably see many more times during the preseason, the regular season. So I like that he singled out that 20 minutes. That's the biggest thing to take away. You had good goaltending. You had a great 20 minutes where you came back. And that's what you probably should think about when you hit the ice next time. So I think there's positives. There's obviously game 1 of the preseason. There's some growing pains, but what would Maple Leafs hockey be like without growing pains, right?
Yeah, and just that razzle-dazzle type thing. It wasn't working tonight, and we said at the second intermission, just meat and potatoes a little bit more. And they did it. Now, when they simplify, they do with a hell of a skill, okay? Whatever. So meat and potatoes is a stretch. But exactly that's what happened. And Craig Berube, to your point, was just saying, yeah, you know what? Got back to simpler hockey with our skill. We made a game of it.
All right, Gord, you're going to be joining us for our next Leafs broadcast on Sportsnet 590 Fan. This is that Thursday versus Montreal, so we'll be both on it. And then we'll remind you again that Leafs Talk with JD Bunkus and Sam McKee will be back for the regular season. So until then, you get some of us making stuff up, having fun. Well, thanks for coming on, Gord. That was fun.
That was great working with you, Ailish, getting the games going, and I'll see you again on Thursday.
We'll see you on Thursday. Thanks for listening to Molson Leafs Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
You're on Sportsnet 590, The Fan.
So let's get our name in the news here. Yeah, we're not going to pay CD. We're not going to pay Jack. We have deficiencies. Yeah, we're not going to do anything about it. We're going to sit idly by in free agency as the teams around us get better. We're going to lose players, but we're not going to bring any in that are better. We're going to bring back Zeke and think it's 2016 all over again when there are better running backs out there that are in their prime and actually have more juice worth the squeeze. We're going to sit back. We're going to do nothing. And we're just going to magically hope these issues that we have get better. And guess what doesn't happen? Those problems getting magically better. Nothing we saw today was a surprise from Dallas, which is why when you look ahead, there's no reason to believe the defense is getting fixed anytime soon. The offensive line is going to improve. This offense in general is going to get better and more consistent. It is going to mean the Cowboys come January are going to be at home missing the playoffs. This is not a playoff team. Week 3 is not too early to say their season is already over. 855-212-4227. 855-212-4227. Are you with me here? Did you watch today's game? Marquee 425 Fox, as they call it, America's Game of the Week. Ravens, Cowboys, two teams that needed a win desperately. And you see the Ravens coming out desperate. They played like this was a playoff game. And another laissez-faire, ho-hum, slow out of the gate start from the Cowboys at home, mind you, leads to yet another loss.
It's losing.
Have you seen enough to where Jerry says losing? And it's only going to continue here. 855-212-4227. 855-212-4227. It is week 3. But are you buying into the Cowboys, or are you with me that right now their season is done? 855-212-4227. 855-212-4227. Ryan_Hickey and the number 3 on social media. Also on YouTube, Infinity Sports Network is where we are streaming this show live on the tube. Say, you can watch the show. Hello, waving at everyone watching right now. Also, you can comment in the comment section as well. So a little 2-for-1 there for you. So plenty of ways to get involved in the show. Are you buying into the Cowboys, or is their season already over really before it starts? 855-212-4227. Right now, we just come out of commercial break. Sunday Night Football, third quarter is just underway. Chiefs got the ball to start the third quarter, drove down a goal-to-go situation. Credit to the Falcons defense. They bowed up. 3 stops, settled for a field goal. 16-14 right now. Chiefs over the Falcons. 9.5 minutes to go here in quarter number 3. Falcons about to get the ball for the first time here in the second half. We will keep you updated on Sunday Night Football all throughout the duration of that game. And also when we return here, who had the best win of week number 3? This team needed it, arguably more than anybody. It felt improbable, and boy, was it a great, great win for this team specifically. I'll tell you who it is when we do return. You are listening to Ryan Hickey, Hick at Night, right here on the Infinity Sports Network.
For pizza lovers who are short on time and hungry for a great deal, Little Caesars Pizza is ready when you are. Walk in, grab your hot and ready favorites, and walk out. It's just that easy. Try the classic hot and ready medium pepperoni pizza for only $7.99. You get a delicious quality pizza at a great price. It's available all day, every day for just $7.99 at Little Caesars. And try other hot and ready favorites like their iconic Crazy Bread or Caesar Wings. Little Caesars Pizza, 20 years of hot and ready.
Fall for Subaru by enjoying fall to the fullest. Think scarlet, burgundy, amber, crimson and copper, but never, never blue. Because with Subaru's symmetrical full-time all-wheel drive, fall is for thick, dark mud splats, terracotta mountain roads, radiant sunsets, kaleidoscopic leaf carpets, and the boldest of adventures. Avoid autumn blues and visit your local Subaru dealership to book a test drive today.
What makes a job in the skilled trades at Ontario Power Generation different? For starters, we're not just welders, electricians, millwrights, and boilermakers. We are sustainable future builders. And every day, we're building, expanding, and innovating the equipment and technology that keeps Ontario powered with clean, reliable energy. Are you ready to start a career that has the power to electrify life on and off the job? Apply now at opg.com/jobs.
What a tackle. Let's go to the sidelines. You're in the zone today, Matt.